better leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Bundy, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like the Brown James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Reviews not falling for the FOMO. Listening to coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum NFTs. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I got a shout out
Started
to
off with a
Bode.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
Breaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in shoes. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, miny, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the drive with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, GM. Thanks so much for joining us. If you haven't already done so, do us a favor, drop a GM in the chat down below. Then head up top, smash that like, repost, and bookmark on today's space. We greatly appreciate it. It does warm up the algo and does us a real solid for show 1001. Congrats to all of our winners yesterday. I just saw Matoshi just gave us a shout out. One of the big winners yesterday, won 1,000 ape, and already going to put it to work with the ApeCoin raid. Debating whether to go to Solana or Hyperliquid. If you got to take, go let Matoshi know which way you think they should go with their newfound ape. We're gonna get those sent out. Some of you may have seen them. The rest should hit. Most of them should hit today. If we need any wallets or whatnot, we will be in touch. But I think we have all that. Some of the bigger ones we'll probably confirm just to make sure everything you linked in OpenPage is accurate. But again, thanks again for all the support yesterday. Greatly appreciated. And today we start the trek for 1,000 more shows. So as always, I'm Cap, my co-host Steve. Never any financial advice on the show. Crypto is risky, NFTs are risky, meme coins except you're risky. Go to zero moments notice. Please don't put any money you can afford to lose. Know that Steve and I hold tokens that we'll talk about from time to time, including all the NFTs that are going to zero, except the one that Steve sold overnight. I'm probably going to go in a little. I'm going to let you do your intro. I'm going to wish you a good morning here in a second, and then I might go on a little rant. I woke up feeling a certain way today. You took the baby back bitch emo. The sky is falling earlier this week. It might be me today, and might go on a little tangent. We'll see. I just I'm not even joking. I had the conscious thought, maybe for the first time ever, I'm ready to just sell all my NFTs and move on. But that's coming in hot this morning, as always. Again,
all your NFT, not, I mean, obviously that's hyperbole, not all your NFTs and move on. But it's interesting,
man. I have no conviction in NFT price action right now. None. It's gone. It's over.
So okay, so let's get into this in a second. Do us a favor, give us a like, a retweet, a comment on the room. Slower warm this morning as we go in. Machiavelli beating Von Frunten is a point of pride. Von Frunten must have a IRL busy stuff. GM Green Edge and all our friends.
He's getting a tattoo. He's on the tattoo table today.
That's right. Von Frunten's going to get a new tattoo today. So that's definitely keeping him busy. Kazi, other people, or Kazi, I should say, and we should we're gonna do our Death Fund drawing today. We'll get everything going. It's funny you say that though. I'm gonna be curious what drew you down there.
You don't want to know.
What's that?
You don't want to know.
Well, I mean, is it going to be an OpenSea rant? Is that what's going to happen here? Basically, because it could be, but like I've it's
a combination. That's absolutely part of it. I'm sure you saw D Farmer's post. I agree with it. I think it's a good take. And yeah, it's just another NFT marketplace is farming us to death. NFTs are getting murdered again. It's a fucking bloodbath. And it's just not meant to be collected this way. They're not meant to be traded this way. And it's exhausting, man. It's October. Things are pumping, everything except NFTs. Moonbirds, big announcement yesterday. Spencer's executing as well as anyone in the space. After the run up on the announcement, what did they do? The massive sell off.
Okay,
I want to say it's OpenSea's fault, but it's definitely not helping. And yeah, I just like the negative pressure that the farms like OpenSea and previously Blur apply to these NFTs. It's bad, man. It's ongoing downward pressure. We don't know when it's going to end. And it's a not fun anymore. I'm exhausted by whale games, by manipulation, by farms, and just why? What value am I getting from these? Used to be airdrops, and outside of the ones that have a token coming, like Moonbirds, it's like we need some innovation back. Like the punk strategy I mentioned, I think that's something from a financial standpoint, it's better than the Blur farming, but it's not enough to offset what's going on with the OpenSea farm, and that too could end bad. I think some people are attempting to play that game. Maybe I don't know, man. It is sad. It's disappointing. The charts are an absolute bloodbath during a time where everything else is up. I look at my Hyperliquid and then I look at my NFTs, and it's it could not be further from the especially the start of October. I know it's early. Appreciate B Epic, Green Edge, and yourself picking me up with some Pingu tips today. When Von Frunten gets back, I'll make sure to remind him of that 1001 Pingu tip. But I kid. Again, I'm not blaming OpenSea. I'm not capitulating. I'm not selling my ape. But yeah, I'm not even exaggerating. If I could click a button and sell everything but this one ape right now and get 80 cents on the dollar, I'd click the button.
Yeah, 80 cents on the dollar on NFTs is a steal at this point. But no,
I'm saying 80 cents for what I could get for them. I just don't want to go through the process of what should I list this for? What should I sell it? If I just knew what someone was willing to pay on every NFT in my wallet, and I could take 80% of what they're willing to pay, I would do that across the board.
Yeah, I feel
I feel like my capital could be so much more productive elsewhere. And I feel with NFTs, it's just outside of a very select few, it's I'm just playing playing some game, waiting for something, and I just don't know what the catalyst is going to be. It's I don't see other people outside of this space. I thought consolidation. I still think consolidation, but again, candidly, it's not an OpenSea rant. But yeah, candidly, I don't see things turning until the farm is done.
I don't think that. I think it's bigger than OpenSea, honestly, and that's not me just being there because I saw D Farmer's post yesterday, and look, I'm I'm going to be honest about how I feel about things. Like, I am doing the OpenSea farm. I, don't mind it. I think it's fine. I think a lot of us thought it was going to be one season. Then it's like, okay, it's going to be multiple seasons. And I think the thing that I netted out on, and this is just my opinion on it, I know a lot of people disagree, is that I do wish Von Frunten coming in strong. Look at that. There you go in the chat.
Hey, my man. I was just kidding, but no, it is like that's extremely generous. You're the man. If you missed it, Von Frunten tipped Steve 1,000 Pingu yesterday. Tipped me a 1,001 Pingu yesterday, and you don't have to do that. It's you're a legend and greatly appreciated. And fittingly, after Steve set the record for a abstract tip yesterday, we top it today. So tomorrow, I guess Von Frunten's going to tip, or Monday, Von Frunten's going to tip you 1,002 Pingu. And we
Was
just
it on, on today's show, Von Frunten loses his house on Pengu tips. But it reminds me of, what was the game where like somebody set a record for like the longest field goal in NFL history or something in like the playoffs or whatever, and then like later in the playoffs someone else set the record for longest field goal. It lasted like 6 minutes of game time. I can't remember what it was, but it was definitely funny. But yeah, man. Okay, so like, here's my take. I said this at the time. I'm not, and we're not just saying this, we're honest about it. I'm not like, I don't feel the same way about the OpenSea farm that a lot of people feel. I'm fine with it.
It's a lot of people too. Like, I don't know if you dove through the comments, but like I saw your post, like, if they don't do something, if they don't put it into it, or they'll give us some like things are going to start, people are going to start to turn. I think people have turned, man. I know it's not everyone. There are people like yourself that are enjoying it. But if you look at the comments, man, it is the overwhelming majority. Like, consensus is not a fan of this farm. We feel like we're being farmed, not a fan of the extra fees. And it's just, all that could be okay. It's just way too long. And
Well,
it's way too long because it's on top of a company that's been in existence since 2017. It's on top of a company that we've all used for years. And it's not some new startup that just launched. They're trying to figure out product market fit and gain some attention and mind share. They have it. It's just drop the token or tell us when it's coming. It's
But
just
that's what I was going to say. I'm not trying to psychoanalyze everybody, but I think OpenSea has this. OpenSea is a lightning rod, and they should be aware of this, right? They should be aware of this, right? That they are a lightning rod. OpenSea is a lightning rod, and I think oftentimes they don't get the same benefit of the doubt that others do because they're OpenSea. And I think they have done a really good job trying to, ingratiate themselves back with the culture, trying to do a lot of great things within the ecosystem. So I want to give them credit where credit's due. However, like, my take remains the same on this, which is I think people have OpenSea as a lightning rod. It's sort of like, I maybe we'll get into it, but I had a little bit of a rant on Doodles yesterday in the war room. And obviously, like, some semi-joking, some serious with frustrations, but had a rant on the Doodles community yesterday because I, had another bad experience with another community member, which is like, they're the only community that will consistently, do a FUD post when I'm posting positively about them. Like, that actually has happened on multiple occasions, or talking positively about them. And I just was like, whatever, I'm not into this. But like, it's more of like okay. It's hard to give them the benefit of the doubt or be excited about them, about the Doodles community, when I've had really bad experiences. And like, by the way, I've been like as big of a Doodle supporter in general. It's just when I have like 98 out of 100 posts are positive, and then 2 are like not even negative, just like critical or questioning, and I get like that sort of pushback, I'm like, what are we doing here? So anyway, the only reason I bring that up is like, I think OpenSea is like that lightning rod for everybody in the space, right? A lot of people have that feeling. So being situationally aware of that is very important. And I think they are. I think they understand that OpenSea doesn't always get the benefit of the doubt. But my main thought process on this is that they don't really have the same, they don't have the same like runway or length. Like, when I made like the sort of hyperbolic comparison to like Spencer, for example, Spencer has more runway, more goodwill, more good grace, even if he does the same exact thing. It's sort of, you see this in life. Some people can get away with the same exact thing that others can't, and sometimes it's historical benefit of the doubt. So OpenSea's had some things. I think, and I said this before, if the foundation had given an update prior to this, and we had a very clear end, people could make very clear decisions. Even if the boxes were nebulous, if they're like, look, TG is coming in December, TG is coming in January, TG is coming in November, TG is coming in February next year, whatever it is, or in Q1 next year, whatever they gave, and we're going to have some seasons of stuff. So then people would complain, but they'd know the game. I think the opaqueness of it, which I know, Von Frutten's brought that up several times. The opacity of it becomes the thing that frustrates people. And I think that this is what's coming across in D-Farmer's thing, where he's finding out there's multiple seasons. Now, for me, I've been paying close attention to it because I've been following this for a while, and I did all the voyages and things. If you had read, Hollander's post, historical volume is a different bucket. There's some people in his comments who even said, I'm not playing the game because I know I'm set with historical volume. So there are people who picked up on that. There are people who knew there was multiple seasons, but he's kind of realizing this all at once. And I just think that there's this, they don't get the benefit of the doubt. I thought their post last month was fine. I thought their post was good. I thought it gave an update. Here's what's coming next. Here's what's coming next. We have a couple weeks here, probably because they said beginning of October, I think. We have the next couple weeks. We should be getting an update on TGE. If I'm them and that's the foundation, I'm being pretty specific on, we have 2 more seasons of this, TGE in early Q1 of next year, in late Q4 this year, whatever that is, and then people can have that conversation so they can figure out how to play it. But I think there's a lot of frustrations boiling up. And I said this before, it's I don't mind the farm. I don't mind what they're doing. I understand how they're building up into TGE. What I would like to see is a update on when and how many seasons this thing will have. And maybe they can't give that. Maybe they can't, or they're not able to at the moment because of the foundation issues, or, not foundation issues, but foundation questions. But I think if there's more clarity on that, a lot of this goes away because people can just make their decision and they can figure out where they want to go. I think the lack of decision is frustrating people, and the time frame. And so I think that there's a lot of things that go.
I'm more concerned about the farm is what it, the token drop is what it is. I can't. It's going to happen. I'll either be happy or unsatisfied with our C allocation. This isn't even allegedly, this reward season is separate from the token drop, which I don't buy. I think they absolutely will incorporate this into the token allocation.
I don't think they said that, though. I think what they said, though, just to be clear, is as from what I read, and this is why I think clarity from the foundation is important. As I understand it, what they said is that the historical bucket of C is long allocated, been there, it's good. That's something different. And so it's no different than if you're hey, historical volume on MetaMask is there, but we're going to have a bump and more token to people who use the perp too, because we wanted people to use a new product. It's an incentive system. I think that's fine. I know not everybody agrees with that. I don't think it has to be just hey, if you used OpenSea in 2021 and shut down your wallet, you get, only C goes to you. If I'm reading it correctly, which I don't know if I am, but there are people in the comments who said the same thing. The historical volume or historical thing, that's set. Again, I don't know this for a fact. I'm just kind of going based on reading between the lines / what other people's interpretation is. I think there will be a reward for people using these as it, but I think it is a bonus, and I don't think it affects those who historically have done anything. It's just, otherwise it's a completely different bucket that they decided long before TGE, which I think it's fair. I think it's fair for them to go into TGE. I think anybody going into TGE can say those who historically used, if Katana had a TGE and they're those who historically use Katana, and then those who use our vaults, there's a separate bucket for we're allocating it. I think people just want clarity on what that looks like so they can make an informed decision. Because, for example, if you found out that there's another 2% of C or whatever the number is going into this farm thing, you might be all right, well, I'll play the game a little bit just to get my C drop, or I'll try to get my prizes along the way. But I think the opacity of it is what's making people nuts. So I just want to that part of it. I don't think it's
bigger than the C token drop, though. My concerns are, I do think it's having I think it's having a negative. It's definitely not helping NFT collections or price action or floor prices. I think it's having an extreme negative impact. And I think it's only going to get worse the longer this goes on. I this is gross, man. This is disgusting. And I know it's not just OpenSea, but this is just.
I don't think OpenSea's strictly to blame for this on an NFT sell-off. ETH is up 15-20% in the past. Usually what you see is a slight pullback in percentage-wise when ETH goes up, and then it catches up. So we'll see if there's the catch-up trade there. I don't think blaming OpenSea specifically for this necessarily makes sense on this price action.
I do. I think a lot of the buyers are buying they're buying for the OpenSea farm, these rewards, these loot buying boxes. They're relisting thinking, okay, I'm going to get someone to buy this because of a Moonbirds token or because of one of the strategy things. And when it doesn't buy, they weave it into bids.
But that's not. But that's. I don't think that that's. And we'd have to check the data. I don't think
I don't think a lot. I think there's. I don't know the number. I mean, let's say half of the buyers, and then therefore the sellers are buying because of the OpenSea fund.
I don't think it's accurate. Just as somebody who's been buying and selling NFTs lately. Like yesterday, when the Moonbirds announcement got dropped, if you remember, the first 3 rows of oddities were all on Blur. So like, what I would concede or say is that I think it adds fuel to the fire. Like, I don't think it's good in that sense. Like, I agree with the point you're making, but I think saying like, well, OpenSea's, responsible for this, or this is OpenSea's fault. I think them putting this into play is bad, but like, I still think Blur is way bigger of a farm situation going on based on playing this game and being involved in it. Like, I've seen when I'm looking at oddities, when I'm looking at mythics, I sometimes go through 3 lines of them before I'm at an OpenSea one. So I still think it's Blur primarily, but I think to the point you're making, just to like strengthen your argument, I think OpenSea is a force multiplier to that now because they've added incentivization. So people like me who wouldn't be doing this are now doing this. I think to be fair. So I don't want to like necessarily railroad your point, but I don't think like when we see these numbers, it's like, it's not necessarily OpenSea. I think it's a matter of mostly still Blur, but this OpenSea program.
What's Blur doing right now? They don't have. I don't. People are farming Blur. They might be listing on Blur or through the.
The situation you just described, right, is exactly what's happening. So people are playing Blur for the NFT strategy tokens, and people are playing Blur on the Burb token yesterday. Like yesterday, people all were playing Blur on the Burb token yesterday. Like, it's one of the reasons why I wasn't successful at the end of the day. And we'll talk about what happened with NFTs at the end of the day for sure. But like, I would have to go 3 lines down before one was listed on OpenSea. And maybe it's evened out now, but when I was specifically buying it, it was, I'm not saying Blur's doing anything. I'm just telling you factually, like, when we were looking yesterday after the Burb token was announced, everything in the first like 10 to 12, almost all of them were Blur listings. And in fact, I was able to sell above floor on multiple of them because people were looking for an OpenSea listing. So I think like you're right that people are doing this. I just don't think it's nearly at the caliber. I think people are just doing what they do, which is they play an announcement, they buy, they sell. I think your overarching point about how people are playing NFTs is still in play. I think OpenSea is contributing to that. I don't think that it's the reason for all of this, though. Like, I think it's a jump. I don't think the data would support that OpenSea is causing. I think you can complain about OpenSea having DX terminal be farmed all day long. I think there's a lot of things you can do. I think that price action yesterday is just what NFTs have become, which is like to your point about sell it all. I just think OpenSea didn't help the situation, but I don't think that they're like this primary responsible. Just from experiencing it, like I'm constantly seeing the bottom floor still being Blur in general, and certainly yesterday, if that makes sense. So I agree with you to a point. I don't think that it's
OpenSea's got. Yes, there's still volume done on Blur, but I would guess a lot of that is actually happening via OpenSea, because it's a Blur listing and OpenSea is just an aggregator.
Yeah, but this also won't tell the whole story, because the volume, a lot of that still is, to the point I'm making, like a lot of that volume is the volume you've complained about in the past. By the way, if I keep grunting, I have a frog in my throat for some reason, so I apologize. I don't know what's going on this morning. My point being, yes, that OpenSea volume, I don't think we can tell the story there unless we look at specific collections like the ones you're talking about, because OpenSea has a shit ton of volume on DX, like what's the volume on like DX terminal, which is like the farm of the farm, right? Like look at collections, it's always around near the top. And I'm sure like in the past 24 hours with a lot of things, it's like been quite a bit. But if I go to 30-day volume or 7-day volume, it's like you have things like DX terminal doing 2,303 ETH in the last week. So like that's an example of like that. And then like you can go down and find like Far World Creatures, another farm, 644 volume in the last week. Base paint, 518 volume in the last week. Base emoji, 400 volume. So those is where I guess my point is, like when you look at the volume, those are tangibly jumping that number because people are farming, which is where I agree with you on like the farm situation. I think what happened yesterday, I'm trying to explain this really well. I'm trying to like bifurcate 2 points and say like on one end, yes, I agree it's a problem. It's adding to the problem. On the other hand, I think there's a larger issue with NFTs and the NFT price action, which Moonbirds will point to, and I think we should dig into that. But I think like singularly saying, oh, OpenSea is the problem is not the right takeaway. I think OpenSea inadvertently put something in place, yes, to drive volume, but inadvertently did contribute to what this blur farming situation is. Does it track? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's like,
Yeah, I don't think it's a blur farming situation at all. I think it's an OpenSea farming situation.
no, I think it's bigger than that. I think it's an NFT situation is my point. Like, I think this is what NFTs are. People are waiting for an announcement. They trade them like fungible tokens. Like, I don't think it's like Blur or OpenSea. I think we had a Moonbirds announcement yesterday. I expected that number to pump and those to go up because people are excited. There's a token coming. They're looking for an opportunity. It took a blip up. It took a blip down, like we talked about. My thought process is
down below pre-announcement price.
Yes. Yeah. It's
Correct.
and it's funny. I thought you would be agreeing me on the other side.
Although I will pat myself on the back. The one NFT I've bought in the last, I don't know how many months, is the one green one on the day. I should probably go just race to the sell button right now and let that oddity fly.
I mean, I'm caught with hands in the cookie jar because I thought it was going to last more than an hour, I believe, less than an hour from that announcement. Like, it basically lasted an hour, maybe two. I don't know the exact time, but like, I'm sitting here with 3 oddities and 2 mythics now, right? And like, I only want 1 oddity and 1 mythic, but I have the choice to sell below floor and call it a day, or I have the choice to, not. My point that I'm making, and I want to have this discussion. By the way, give us a like, a retweet, a comment in the room. I know we got into it pretty quickly this morning. My point that I'm making is, I think this is an NFT problem on the NFT digital collectible PFP etc. side, not a OpenSea problem. Like, this is like OpenSea is part of it, Blur is part of it, but I think people just saw an announcement and they said, let's buy and flip, and that's it, and that's what they become. And D Farmer's like, this is OpenSea's fault. I don't think it's OpenSea's fault. I don't think OpenSea helped, but I think like this is just the experience with NFT, because to say like, okay, again, going back to the point, if we're like, well, OpenSea had this, it caused the Moonbirds floor to fall and all these other floors to fall after it had a token announcement. Well, then why were the first 12 listings on the floor on Blur? If that was the case, it doesn't make sense. Now, it doesn't help. It's also part of it. There are more people participating. It's just, when you talk about just selling NFTs in general and how it goes, like, I'm kind of in the same feeling where I'm like, I feel as though it's not OpenSea, it's not Blur, it's the market where people aren't looking to buy and collect for utility. People are looking to get a token, to get a flip, and to get in and out. There isn't as much community pride or excitement about it anymore. Like the Moonbirds community yesterday. I
agree, but I believe part of that is driven by these farms. It started with Blur, now it's OpenSea, and there are people that are willing to collect. The problem is these fake incentives drive fake volume, drive fake buys, which lead to actual real sales, which brick floors. And then it creates a vicious cycle of people start capitulating. People start like, oh my God, the sky is falling. And it's all this. It's a reverse flywheel that's started by incentivized buying and selling of NFTs. Like, it's just, we've seen this before. And I do think, as a leader in this space, as someone who's been here and saw this play out before, I do think OpenSea has some responsibility to be better. And we know how this ends. It's not good, and we're seeing it play out. It's playing out just like Blur farming played out. And these NFTs aren't meant to be traded with this kind of volume. They're just not. They're collectibles. They're not fungible tokens. And when you have these crazy incentives or these blind box rewards, turns them into effectively a fungible token that people aren't buying to collect. They're buying it to play these games. And
yeah, I agree.
These are net negative on NFTs. They are.
No, I agree. I totally agree. But like, I see it taking the worm, like CT, we are to blame. Begging OpenSea for a token, talking shit about OpenSea because no token, when token, and then now they are doing it and running.
But that's like, respectfully, they don't have to do this. Like, drop a token. You don't have to farm us to drop a token. They have users. They have our attention. I actually truly believe, like, the point of a farm pre-TGE is to drive users, to capture new customers, to retain existing customers, and then keep them in your ecosystem. I do truly believe this is having the reverse, the negative, like the opposite outcome, to where people like myself are likely just to not use OpenSea after this, because I'm going to have a poor taste in my mouth, just like I had a poor taste in my mouth with Blur. Like, it's not necessary. They don't have to do this. They have all the data. They have the user base. They have historical volume. They can just reward their they're holders. They don't and still have your if you want to have a rewards program, if you want to have a blind box token draw, you can do that. You don't have to drag out the TGE to keep that going. Like it's a having negative impacts on the market. It's rubbing people the wrong way, and you don't have to do a farm to drop a token.
Yeah, I know. And like, again, like this is where it's like weird because like I'm not disagreeing with you on the point there. I'm not disagreeing with you on it being part of the problem. I just think I see DeFarmers post and people are like, OpenSea is the reason all of this is going. And I don't think the data supports that. Like, I think there are sort of 3 things in play here or 4 things in play. I think there is Blur still, like I said, that is still a thing. I think that it is the OpenSea farm that's going on. I agree with that. That's why I think the opacity around this is a problem. Like, I'd like clarity to understand what's happening. Like, I don't think it's bad that they're running 1 rewards program or maybe even 2 before a token, but you kind of need that finality of when it's happening. I think number 3, people are front running strategy, right? Like, Good Vibes Club is a great example. Good Vibes Clubs aren't ripping because they had an announcement. They're ripping because people think that the floor is going to get swept and they can sell it in. You know, Cyrus said it, right? Like, he said the same thing. He's like, I'm going to start buying NFTs for these strategies to sweep for me, and it's been successful. My point being, I think this is an NFT problem, and I don't know how we fix it, given that it's the genie's out of the bottle. It's sort of like saying, like,
I think the first thing to fix is you have to stop incentivized buying and selling. Like, that's not.
But you can't. But that's a utopian world. Like, you can't stop Blur from existing. OpenSea could stop.
Blur's fine. I don't think the Blur incentivized. No, I don't know anyone that's farming Blur right now. I do not think that's a problem.
But that's just not true, because that's literally what happened yesterday. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, you're basically saying, like, if OpenSea stopped tomorrow, NFT floors will go to the moon. It's like, no, it's like, it's people are front running strategy and people are playing it. And most of the people are playing it on Blur. That's what happened yesterday. Like, yesterday,
look at the data. The majority of sales are still taking place on OpenSea. Like, just because there's listing on Blur because people don't want to pay royalties, it's not the majority of the volume, and it's not being farmed. It's just they're
but that doesn't track, because if the majority of sales are taking place in OpenSea where people are listing on Blur because they're aggregating it, that has nothing to do with OpenSea's incentivized bidding program, because people aren't then getting points for their boxes. So, like,
I bought an oddity off Blur and I got OpenSea points for it.
So if people are weething, but yesterday, okay, so let's see what the data is then. So you said that weeth bids go into it. I hadn't seen that, but we'd have to let's look at the data on the sales then. Are most of them weeths or most of them ETHs? Because I thought most of them were ETH sales, not weeth sales. Now they're pretty ETH, but I'd have to look at the 24-hour data then to see if they're ETH or weeth. If they're getting it for the weeth sales and Blur ETH, but I mean, I'm looking at 23 hours ago, it is like, I mean, like, here, I mean, I could show. So, like, if it's an ETH, then they're not getting points for it. Like, so I don't know. Like, I think we are over, like, ETH, which means that none of these, if bought from Blur, would go towards a box. So I just think we're, like, trying to be like, well, this is all OpenSea's fault, which is what DeFarmers Post is kind of saying. I just think, like, I agree with you about your overarching premise that the program itself is not helping. I agree with your overarching premise that NFTs are not becoming something that are traded or collected in a way that, you know, sort of tracks that way. What I would say I don't agree with is I don't agree that it's, like, fully, like, I'm conceding, like, yes, like, I understand your perspective, but, like, the fact that, like, people farmed on Blur yesterday around a Moonbird token announcement is not OpenSea's fault. Now,
I don't think people farm. My point. What is the Blur farm? I don't think they have an act. Like, it's not. People aren't farming Blur. They're farming.
They're farming. They're playing the announcement on Blur. Like, they see an announcement, they know that they're going to make money by buying and selling something, so they buy it and then they sell it on Blur with no royalties, and they make money. Like, again, like, that's literally what happened yesterday. A bunch of ETH sales. Even if people are buying an OpenSea through Blur, unless they're getting weeth bids, which I didn't know was the case, they're not getting credit for that OpenSea farm. So, like, if the majority of the selling happened on Blur yesterday, or most of the listings were, which
majority happened on OpenSea. I just looked.
No, but what you're saying is, like, the sales happen on OpenSea through Blur, which doesn't get you credit for an OpenSea box unless it's weeth. If a dozen listings are on Blur on an announcement, that has nothing to do with
on OpenSea than there was Blur yesterday.
Okay, but how many of those were
% of the market? It was 4,278, over 1,500 in just OpenSea volume. 7,395 trades.
So those are pure OpenSea sales, not sold through Blur.
Trades on Blur, 7,300 on OpenSea.
And those are ETH sales on OpenSea through OpenSea's platform, not through Blur's platform, not sold on OpenSea, and the credit went to Blur and it was sold on OpenSea with no royalties, is what you're saying. Because I got to dig into this data because, like, I'm just saying from experience of doing it yesterday, announcement happened, bottom 12, 15 oddities, bottom 12, 15 mythics are listed on Blur. Like, you are not getting credit for your
farming Blur. I think what people are still using Blur for, especially Moonbirds, is for blend loans. So I think from that standpoint, you're seeing people use Blur. But I just, maybe I'm wrong. If someone's farming Blur for points, let me know. I just don't think
farming. They're flipping. They're playing. This is my point. Like, this is what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not landing this very well. People don't see NFTs, period.
My point is, we wouldn't have seen near the volume we saw yesterday. We wouldn't see near the sell-offs we're seeing if people were just buying to flip announcements. Because it's not just Moonbirds. It's across the board. And it's, I believe, the majority of this volume is because of the OpenSea farm. Where, regardless of where they're listed, the majority of the current, I mean, just look at like just the total transactions compared to pre-OpenSea farm, it's way up. And it's fake volume. That's my point, is like these farms, it's not real volume, it's not people buying. Are some of them speculating on tokens? Sure. But the overwhelming majority of the volume is because of OpenSea farms, because they think they're going to get more tokens or a blind box. And the delta, the difference between those that are buying to flip or buying because they want to collect, and then the split of those that are buying because this OpenSea farm, the overwhelming majority of those, the larger chunk of buyers and sellers, they're just selling. They're not buying because they want the NFT. It's just like that is, I think the biggest fuel on the fire is this incentivized buying and selling, and it's not good. It's very unhealthy for NFT ecosystems.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I don't think that's ever going to be solved. I guess like
stop the farm. It's over. It's solved.
No, but that's like yesterday we would have seen the same price action, or not the same. We would have seen, I think the point I'm making, I think OpenSea added to it. Again, this is my feeling on OpenSea. Like, I think there's a lot of people, I'm not saying you, I think a lot of people have OpenSea derangement syndrome in the space because of things. They've been around for a while. They've had issues with them in the past. There's a lot of things that have happened. I think sitting there and looking at what happened yesterday, when, again, bottom 10, 9, 12, 15 of those things were all listed on Blur, because I was literally in the trenches trying to do that yesterday. You can't say, like, this is an OpenSea problem. I think it's an NFT problem. I think it's a problem. I think OpenSea is exacerbating the problem, which is where I agree with you. But I think being like, well, if OpenSea went away tomorrow, NFT floors would all go to 10 ETH. Like, you're not saying that, but like, it's like people acting like that is the problem. A strategy token gets announced, a bunch of people buy an NFT, and a bunch of people list it. It's on OpenSea, it's on Blur, it's anywhere. A token gets announced, a bunch of people buy NFTs, they front run the token announcement, they list it. It doesn't matter where and how they're listing it. Like, this price action is happening with NFTs across the board. So agree, like, I think that's where, they kind of want to take a look in the mirror about how they're running their program based on
I'm disappointed from them, because I know they're really smart people. I know they care about the space. And I am disappointed with Hollander. I'll tell him this. I'm disappointed with Hollander and leadership team, because this is Blur farming 2.0. We've seen it play out before. Collectively, we all agreed it was really bad for NFTs. Can we say it wasn't the only problem? It's not the only reason NFT floors went down. Yeah, that's not the only reason, but it absolutely exacerbated the sell-off in NFTs. It absolutely crushed some NFT collections. It absolutely led to decrease in floor prices. And at the highest level, the OpenSea farm is Blur 2.0, just packaged a little prettier. And it's not good. Like, that's the thing, is we're seeing now the results. Like, I appreciate the effort. I appreciate them trying to do things differently. No one can convince me that this is what they're doing is good for NFT collections and NFT floor prices. I can't be convinced. I'm not saying it's the only problem with NFT prices. I'm saying it is a net negative. Most people believe this to be true. And instead of not adding to the net negative, like, they're continuing to do it and drawing it out longer to where no one sees the end in sight. And that's like, we know better. We know how this ends. And I have immense amount of respect for Hollander and the people there, that they understand this space. They saw Blur farming and how that decimated NFT floor price. I'm not saying it was 100% of the cause, but most people here would agree that blur farming was a net incentivized bidding, and the blur farm pre-TGE was a net negative on NFTs. I think this is the same thing packaged a little bit differently, and it's not good. And because they're in such a powerful place in the NFT ecosystem, because they are leaders, because they do have so much attention, I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm saying they, of anyone in this space, have the ability to change things, to make it better, to stop the bleeding, and they're choosing not to because they're farming us, and it's disappointing.
Well, that I think that's totally fair feedback. And so that's where I think like kind of that center ground of what we're saying is I agree. I think it's totally fair to say that's a problem. I think it's probably fair to say they put out a program probably hoping to get people to trade tokens on their platform and didn't necessarily anticipate or foresee where it ended up with the NFTs. So I'll be curious how they approached that. So I and I agree with Kevlev here, by the way. The whales and crafty folks know how to make out in these games. The little guys get left behind with dusted with empty bags. I agree with that too. Like I see, like, you know, and I'm not knocking them for playing the game because I'm one to say like I can look at the world the way I want to see it, or I can look at the way the world it is. And obviously, like people like, you know, Gorilla and TMA, our buddy out there, like they're playing it extremely well. So like they know what they're doing and they're playing it well. My point is, and I know Musty came up, so we can get Musty get his take in here in a second because I'm sure I'll have something spicy to say. Musty, you'll enjoy. I had a good run in with some Doodles people yesterday, so I'm sure that'll make you happy. But like,
this is like Q&F. That's actually a perfect. You're the consummate professional here. That is, I can't wait for this. Is gonna be fun. Buckle up. The next 20 minutes or so here. I can't wait to get Musty's take on the OpenSea Blur Farm 2.0, and then we can roll right into a great Doodle discussion. Yeah, because I'll say like that's where I'm like, I think we're now in the same place, and I think we're probably largely in the same place where your frustrations boiling over are you foresaw this coming. You've been calling this since the beginning. You've been frustrated with it from the beginning for a lot of reasons. I don't think you're wrong. You know, like whether you choose to play the game or not. I think again, where I'm wrong is I should have just taken action. I did see this happening from as soon as that came out. I was like, man, this isn't good. I've not been a fan from the beginning. I should have just, I know I've talked about it. I should have clicked the buttons, liquidated almost everything, and watched it play out. It's such an obvious outcome to me. And that's why I'm frustrated, because I see what's happening. And like some of these things I don't want to sell, but I know it's the right thing to do. Is like, I think things get a lot worse before they get better, unfortunately. And I hope they bounce, but my confidence in when or where it bounces from is waning pretty quickly. And it's like McAfee said, mutants fell to 1.16 last night. That's crazy. It is crazy. Like, yeah, like it's October. We've got Ape Fest this month. It doesn't matter. None of these forces, none of these. But nothing can overcome the OpenSea farm right now, in my opinion. It's just nothing's going to matter. That's where I think it turns into hyperbolic and not based in reality to me. Like I think nothing can the OpenSea farm. Like okay, so people are dumping mutants and all these other things. Is it possible that people are putting their money elsewhere because there's more things to spend your money on? Is it possible people are moving into other protocols, other farms, other things that are going on? Like I think there's more things than just being like. OpenSea farm started. Like I said, like if OpenSea shut down their farm tomorw, floor prices. I think it's way too much sell pressure. I think it's way too much of a headwind for like, could there be exceptions? Yeah. Oddities are up. Good Vibes Club have a strategy coming, but I think overall, if you look at the collective NFT market cap, I don't think it can go up until the farm is over. Yeah. And we'll see. Like, here's what I'll say. Like, if NFTs all like triple in floor price after the farm's over, I'll concede this one. I just think that it's like, unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is going to be probably the final straw for many people. I think they're like, I'm not going to capitulate here, but I think there's some that if this is the second time they've been bled out by a marketplace farm, they may just take their balls and go home. Yeah. And that's, I don't know. Like, I think like, again, I think we're like, this is where I think it dips into the hyperbole where it's like, if OpenSea had never done this, NFTs would be soaring, right? It's like there's multiple factors going into play, and I think NFTs have had this problem for a while. I'll be curious to see what they say, but I just think it's like to say like it's adding to the problem. It's something that maybe they shouldn't consider doing again. It's not helping. Like if they want to focus on tokens, they should focus on tokens. I just think like the fact that a thing went up like because someone announced a token, a bunch of people bought and listed again.
Blur was the bottom like 10 to 15 bids consistently yesterday, right after the announcement. It just was. That's just where I was. I was involved in doing it. Like, I don't think it's, are people farming OpenSea does exacerbate the situation? I agree. It's just, it feels like people want to say like, this is all OpenSea's fault. I just don't think that's the case. I think it's okay.
I'm not saying it's all their fault. I'm saying they're a leader. They, more so than anyone, have the ability to potentially change the sentiment and change the market. And they're not doing that. I think what this farm is a net negative, and it's not only their fault. I'm just saying they're the best position to turn the market as a whole. And I'm not counting on them doing that. It's just, it's sad because they do have the ability to turn the market and, or at least make an effort. And unfortunately, I think this is having the opposite effect.
Yeah.
What do you think they can do to turn the market? I'm like curious on that, because I think the problem is not a Blur or OpenSea problem. I think it's just like, the space runs on metas. Right now, the meta is not NFTs. It won't be NFTs. If you're buying NFTs after your OpenSea airdrop, you're probably retarded. Cycle is going to end at some point, and you should just wait to go collect whatever stupid NFT you want to collect. Like, the meta right now is to, look at everybody that has Kalshi badges, poly market badges, leverage trading farms, just farming hyperliquid, just trading leverage. Steve, you're doing LPing. Like, nobody wants to nobody wants to collect NFTs right now. And if you do, you have a fat bag to do it. Like, if you have 10 ETH and you want to go buy an Azuki, you'll probably think twice if you want to even go spend that 1.5 to go buy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not an OpenSea or Blur problem. It's just not the meta.
Oh, Musty agrees with me. I didn't see that one coming. I thought he was going to rip OpenSea apart. I'm with you, man. I agree with that. Another interesting point I wanted to add to this is something that, again, someone in the war room said, I won't kind of say who, but I thought this was interesting. And I don't fully agree with this, but I think it's interesting. They said it's not Hollander's job to maintain floor price. It's their job to survive and become the top marketplace. What are they supposed to do? Just cancel the program. And I kind of said, like, I get it. There's some people who would say they have a responsibility. They could ease up on it. I would say this, like, this.
Tell us the details. How I would fix it is let us be specific. How many seasons? When is it going to end?
But that's boring, bro. That's not how it works here. Everybody needs to fucking drag you along for 100 years. Like, this is what I don't understand about this problem. We all know how the space works. It doesn't matter how cool these people are or how much, bro. OpenSea is going to rinse you forever. They don't give a fuck about you or anybody else here. They want your fees again and again and again, and they'll keep taking them, bro. It doesn't matter, bro. It's either you play the game or you don't.
It's a company. It's a company trying to make money. So, like, I get it. It reminds me, because we had a discussion the other day about someone just brought up Spencer in the war room and brought the concept up of, they're like, I don't like the fact that he was a big Blur farmer. I don't like the fact that he was getting involved in World Liberty Financial. And as a result, I don't necessarily want to align with this brand. And I said, look, that's a totally fair perspective. My perspective is he's a savvy businessman. And so I trust him to handle my money well. So I'm going to hold some assets from him because he does it. I think when we start having the conversation about how people and how companies are making money, it's important to discuss, like, what is their objective and their goal, and is it aligned with you or not? And maybe it's not, but, like, people saying, like, like the same people who are saying, like, oh, I don't like OpenSea doing this as a company and what they're doing in this space, could say, like, well, Spencer's company, rinsed a bunch of people on Blur farming, and rinsed a bunch of people and made a ton of money there, and rinsed a bunch of people on World Liberty Financial, and something that, seems sketchy. And, like, that's fine. Like, my opinion on that is, like, look, they're an investment fund that's trying to make money. And do I agree with all the moves they make? Is it supportive of the NFT ecosystem that, like, one of the top Blur farmers, one of the top Blur operations was the people now running Moonbirds, which is an NFT platform? Like, probably not. Like, it's probably not great, but, like, it's okay. They're a business trying to make money. Now, again, like, would I like to see the update? And the point you just made, Cap, which is how can they stop it? I agree. Like, I think if they had given clarity on TGE expected Q4, Q1, whatever, we're going to run another thing till then. This is going to be a separate bucket of C. Be ready for that. We have historical done. Play it or don't. Like, that would be helpful to kind of knowing what's going on. I just think, like, I get D Farmer's take, but, like, I don't know, like, no offense. It's like, welcome to the party. We have scones. Like, everybody's been saying the things that he said in that same exact. You've been saying what D Farmer said for a month and a half. So, like, it's not like that's new information.
That's my thing, is I feel like I've been saying this for 6 months. I don't know when it actually started, but that's kind of my point is.
Yeah, you didn't like the voyages. You were saying it about the voyages before all the box stuff, actually, to be fair. So you've been saying it more than a month and a half. because you have been a fan of this for a while. So like, it's not a new take. It's like people don't like it. They're kind of farming. I think like, again, this is going back in time. It's like going with the C announcement, 4 or 5 months ago, whenever it was, like, and even before that, where they said C is coming, or, before OpenSea 2 came or whatever. It's like those things don't help the cause and makes it feel drawn out for sure. I agree with that. It's more just, and I'll just put the train back on the tracks, and I don't want to like keep going in circles. It's like, I just think people being like, if it weren't for OpenSea, this wouldn't be happening. I just think that is way too oversimplified when you look at how the amount of things that are in play. Like, people are front running NFT strategies and have said so. That doesn't have to do with OpenSea. They just are. People are front running token announcements. It's just similar to how the meme coin meta was like, you could get in a meme coin, you wait a day and see what happens. And then it became like minutes or seconds. It's like the meta around that token. It's like, I thought that was going to do well. I thought that was going to support the floor. I thought people were going to get excited about it. Lasted an hour, went up and went down. And I just don't know that NFTs are in the best possible spot right now in general. And I think OpenSea's farm is exacerbating the situation. I don't think that it's like, I think like there's a lot of people who are like, how could OpenSea do this? How dare they? And I don't think that's like the only factor in it, but I would like to see how they're going to potentially adjust in the future. So agree with you on that point. I just think it's over the top. Joey tossed his hand up as well. Joey, go ahead and get in here, GM.
So to take a little different side, GM guys, is it's only farming if you treat it as farming. Because if I go to Reebok.com right now and they tell me that for every 1,000 points I earn, which is, let's call it, I don't know, $500 of spending on Reebok, I get a $10 gift certificate. I can choose to spend $500, even if I don't need the $500 worth of Reebok sneakers and socks and shorts, to get the $10 gift card, or I can choose not to. So if you treat it as farming, in order to rank up your boxes to quote unquote get a better share of the prizes, then it's farming. If you treat it as a reward system for my daily activity, then that's what it is. So like, I think, and again, like maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm crazy, but that's how I've always looked at it. Like, I'm not doing anything. Sorry, go ahead.
You're not wrong from an individual standpoint. You're right. What I don't think that takes into consideration is that it doesn't matter if you choose not to farm or not. Some people are going to farm this thing till they've wrung all the pulp out of it. Most people farming this thing, they're not NFT fans. They're not collectors. They're mercenaries. And this is their way of grinding right now. This is their way of using their capital to get more magical internet money. They could care less about NFTs. They care less about your NFT collection. And whether you farm or not, that's going to happen when there's an active farm on. And that's the part of the problem is you can't, like, even if you choose to sit on the sidelines and not participate in a farm, a collection you hold is going to get farmed and it's going to get bought and then subsequently sold by people who could care less about the collection you're part of or passionate about. They're doing it purely for a box.
But is that wrong because they're the ones choosing to spend all this money that could end up being negative EV? I'm just trying to understand from like I'm trying to relate it to, maybe there is no direct correlation to like what we see in Web 2 with a buy 10 get one free punch card or like airline miles, right? Like, so when I buy my airline tickets at the end, there's always that little thing that says boost your mileage by getting an extra 5,000 miles for $10 or $50 or whatever, right? Like, so I can choose to do it or not to do it. So like, right. Is there no direct correlation?
But if you choose not to buy the boost on your airline, that doesn't mean that your first class ticket gets downgraded to coach because someone else decided to double boost theirs. Like, it's like there's an uncontrollable here with this farm, whether you sit on the sidelines or not. Like, yeah, you can choose.
Can I make a better analogy? Can I jump in and try to make an analogy, Joey? Like, you work at BZ. Think about the idea if there was somebody who basically incentivized you and said, we're going to give you the chance to win the ultimate chase cards if you just start buying and selling all cards, and there was a way for them to track that whole thing, and they were doing that. I mean, like, even to make a Beezy analogy, because obviously we love Beezy, but when blast farming was going on, remember how people were like selling like $20 cards for $120 and flipping back and forth and going, and it tangibly affected the way the market was moving. It's just hard because the sneaker market is one that is long established and has a buy and sell side, has known supply, at least guesstimation, known understanding. I think that's the problem, is the market is so different. And I agree with you, like, you could choose to participate or not, but it is true that we are in a situation where these choices do impact things. I am with you that you can do it any way you want. I'm with you that I don't think that, I think it is like way oversimplifying. And people are like, man, if OpenSea wasn't doing this, floors would be up. I'm more concerned that digital collectibles, NFTs, kind of maybe the point Musty was making a little bit, I don't think there is a reason to collect a lot of these for a lot of people. I think that the addressable market is smaller. I don't think the teams are giving people reason to be like, you definitely want to hold this. Like, and, you know, if Spencer, let me put it this way. If Spencer said the token was coming at the end of October, the floors would still be up because people would be holding them for an airdrop. He said soonish. Or, soonish, did he say? Yeah. And so it's like the vagueness of that made people be like, all right, there's a pump, but like, who knows what soonish is? I can put my money somewhere else. And I think Musty's spot on. There's a lot of places to put your money. NFTs were the only game in town a few years ago to be making money. And people are looking at it as flip options. And it's like, you know, back in the day, it was buy 3, 1 to flip, 1 to sell as you go up, and 1 to hold as your forever one. It's not really that terribly different than now. It's just the process and the speed of it is sped up, and there's other incentives people are looking at. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm feeling it with NFTs. I don't think it's, again, but my perspective is, I don't think it's an OpenSea problem. I think it's an NFT problem that people aren't finding reasons to want to buy and hold. They're finding them as a vehicle and a mechanism to make more money and sell in the greater fool theory. And I'm just shocked at that it's become almost like meme coins, in that meme coins went from hold for a week to hold for a day to hold for an hour to hold for a minute. NFTs are now like a TGE announcement, which we thought were like, okay, this pump's gonna last through a few days, lasted about an hour. So I don't think we're in a good spot with NFTs in general. And but I agree with you.
I agree, and I think Gio has a great point on that in the chat. Says there's not a lot of incentive. There's not a lot of stuff coming out from the teams. They're not shipping much collectively. I know there's some, but across the board, there's just not a lot of reasons to go add, whether you're in a collection, to go add to your, like, there's just not a lot of reasons. Like we talked about, have some community people, have some membership directors, have some people going out and getting those collaborations, those other airdrops, like get rewards from third-party ecosystems. Because when there's not a lot of other reasons, what Gio says is farming boosts momentum both ways, depending on the actual demand for a collection. And right now, love it or hate it, there's just not much actual real organic demand for hardly any of these collections. And when you have an ongoing active farm that is so massive like this, it's going to exasperate momentum down, unfortunately. And that's what we're seeing happen.
Yeah, that I agree with. And I also think, like, it's almost like I was trying to find an analogy, but I couldn't get one in my head about, like, you know, if someone gets like some disease and they're like, oh, it must be. I was watching Peter Attia and Andrew Huberman the other day, and they were talking about, like, you know, health, and like Peter Attia's like, people start doing all these supplements, all these things. He's like, none of that should matter until you get your exercise bucket in order, because exercise is like, and he started writing all this data about like what it does for your brain function, what it does for your preventing Alzheimer's, what it does for all these other things, and like how great it is, and yada, yada, yada. And I think, just in my opinion, like, the problem with NFTs, these incentivized bidding programs suck. Part of the problem with NFTs is, we've talked about it a million times, these clubs don't do things that make you really want to be part of them, because it's not their moneymaker. Their moneymaker is elsewhere. And so Spencer is going to make money selling, I don't know what packs. Spencer is going to make money selling trading card games. He's not making a lot of money on people who aren't paying royalties on OpenSea and Blur to him for selling NFTs. So what incentive does he have to say, I want to pay someone $100,000 a year to be a membership director and make sure people feel really cool and feel really good about being in here? It's like what we talked about. If people increase that organic demand, I think it would make your profitability better. Like, I will say this till I'm blue in the face. If people gave people in the space a reason to feel something, to want to be part of something, a reason to work with whales, a reason to get people to buy, a reason to people get part of the club, way to give incentives, and actually thought about ways to be like, wow, being part of this club is really valuable, all the rest of the things would fall into place. Like, Scott and I effectively wrote about this in the Everything Token. Like, this is the thesis, is that forget royalties, even if they're not paid. If you create a club that everybody wants to be a part of, and don't look at it as how am I make money tomorrow, people are going to want to be a part of your club, and everything else falls into place. You'll be able to sell them. Like, Cap, do you remember when we were like buying, when we had apes and the merch drop happened and people were paying thousands of dollars for like a red hat because they wanted to be part of the club and that mattered? All of those things will take care of themselves if you actually do well with membership. And I just think a lot of these NFT collections don't care about it. And so that's why I'm saying it's not OpenSea, like, it's exacerbating the problem. But the problem to me is, like, NFTs need to give people a reason to want to have demand and own them. And right now we're not seeing a lot of those. Joey, I see you down there. Go ahead and hop in.
Like, I like, just real quick, because I need to go find the exact collection to that specific. You made a comment like Spencer can't afford to pay $100,000 a year for a membership director based off royalties. I'm not even exaggerating. I bet they've made over $100K in royalties this week. 1 week they could pay for that membership director.
Yeah, they should. It's just and it's
just like royalties do exist. Like, this past week, there's been $500,000 in royalties paid just on OpenSea alone.
Yeah. And I like, and maybe I'll try to find a way to articulate this into words and like put a long post out about it or something. But like, this is the problem I see, is that nobody is taking, like, I'm going to reference myself because whatever, it's what we wrote. It's like ownership, identity, community, or ownership, utility, identity, community, evolution. Like, that's the 5 that's the NFT staircase we built, right? Ownership makes sense. Utility, what are people doing to drive value back to the token? We're not seeing as much about that. It's always number go up money. Fine, you want that to be the case? Identity and community. Think about it. Why do people have a hard time selling Bored Apes when they're $500,000? Some because they thought the price was going to go up. Some because they said, I'm never selling my ape. This is part of who I am as a community member. Similarly, with any NFT collection you look at, Gutter Cat Gang got to 10 ETH and people didn't sell because they said gang to each other and did spaces and showed up to parties, and the team was with them, and they threw Gutter City parties and they got tattoos. People didn't sell because of the identity and the community. Not everybody. Some people thought it was going up and they were greedy. A lot of people didn't sell because it was part of who they are and part of what they loved. I just think we've gotten away from that. And when you talk about a membership director, when you talk about a budget to do things, when you talk about activations, you talk about identity-based things, people tripped over themselves to get Moonbird's fanny packs because they loved Moonbirds. Like, it's just, I think people just lost the plot when it came to this. And I think that we're thinking so short-term in this space that these NFT brands look at it and they say, but that's not what makes me money tomorrow. What makes me money is my token. What makes me money is my trading card game. When really what makes you money is building a really strong community. Like, period, point blank, people who feel a sense of identity with their Patagonia coats and outfits buy expensive coats that are the same as the $9 coat that you can get at Walmart, which has the same materials in it. It's just, it's people like lose the plot on what matters. Like, if you identify as a runner, you buy more running stuff. If you love Nike, I know somebody who works at Nike who used to work at Starbucks, one of our clients over there when we were working on Odyssey. She went to work at Nike because she loves Nike and she buys Nike stuff and she gets all the latest drops and she wears all the clothes. Like, that's why Nike spends money on brand building, because they have a brand. And I just think a lot of these companies look at it as, our money is not made here, therefore it's like, yeah, but you're not thinking one step down the line to like what makes people really care about this stuff. So that's where I back up and say it's an NFT problem. And I think that's where we agree on the membership director thing and all that other stuff. It's like, you would have a pool of people that you can sell to in perpetuity if you were working on their behalf. So, I mean, that's just, again, that's a whole other discussion, but I think that's part of the problem we run into. But, like I said at the beginning, if like Bored Ape Yacht Club, when they had a bunch of rich members who were going around and like, flying around the country to do things and buying expensive merch, Bored Ape Yacht Club went ahead and like they went to Delta and like give our people a discount or give them a bunch of free miles like you would a credit card and do all these other things. All people would do is brag about it and want to buy Bored Ape. Why did we like Bored Apes? Because it was a money printer, because it was an opportunity. I think people just don't look at it the right way. And I think that we are approaching it backwards. I think people are like, how can we get the revenue first? And then let's create a reason to own. I think if people created a reason to own, we wouldn't. If the reason that people were buying Moonbirds wasn't simply because they're getting a token to get liquidity to eventually sell it, more people will be buying and owning Moonbirds. That's my take on it. It's just, I don't think that there is a strong community building effort. And I think that's where people have lost the plot. That's my opinion on it, personally.
I have a question for the chat. I don't think anyone's going to get right without looking. Secondary volume only, no BRC20 or runes. Guess which 3 collections have earned the most royalties in the past week. It's good.
Moonbird.
What is it?
Moonbirds?
Nope. My mind.
Good Vibes Club?
They're number 3. Yep.
I was going to say, yeah.
What do you think, Steve? What do you think Good Vibes Club has made in the past week on royalties?
Oh, I'm not good at these number things, so I couldn't even like venture a ballpark guess.
250,000.
Sheesh. In a week? So you think Good Vibes Club is making $1 million a month?
Week. I'm sorry, week. I thought it was month. I would say they probably made 60K.
Did you look?
No, I'm outside putting the kids in the car.
$59,240. Almost.
Ooh, on Price is Right, you did not get it, Joey. No, that was a really good guess. I was dead.
Yeah, I would be so mad if I guess and you lose because you're off by like $500 like that.
This is a maybe the most shocking chart I've seen today, despite the NFT bloodbath. Mad Lads raked in 85 grand this past week. What the hell is Mad Lads doing?
Not traded on OpenSea either. Solana.
Tinzer and Magic Eden. Goblin Town has made $67,000 in royalties this past week. Good Vibes Club 58. Whatever this is, 36. Meta Winners 33. Art Blocks 28. Moonbirds coming in at 21,000.
Man, we should have dropped a super secret Goblin Town type thing back in the 2021 era and just like left it there.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. So it's wild to me that, yeah, despite all the crazy volume, Moonbirds has only done 21K. So they couldn't have paid for the 100K person just this past week. But is
that because they're on the old contract but doesn't enforce royalties, where Good Vibes Club is on the new contract that enforces royalties?
Same with Goblin Town.
Yep.
So next question to you is, now that we've seen this, why haven't all these companies that can have the ability to move to new contract, why haven't they done it? Why won't they do it? Like that's I mean, you're talking
provenance. I mean, would be the main reason I would say provenance, I guess. But
I would also think that the people that are flipping are not going to pay those royalties. So I think, remember Cap, we used to talk about how do you know if people are collecting versus trading? I think that maybe I'm wrong, but I would say that like when you look at that, the collections that are outside of Good Vibes Club, because they're on the new contract, but the ones that are all on the older contracts that are getting paid royalties, does that mean that people are actually collecting versus trading? Because I would imagine traders would click the little toggle to not pay the fees.
It's auto off on Moonbirds and Oddities, by the way. Yeah, man, I don't know. I just like, again, this is where it's like I'm glad we ended up.
Moonbirds did 30 million in volume and made 21K in royalties. 21K is still like, that's not nothing. That's 80 grand a month. So that goes a ways, but it's just wild that they did that on 30 million in volume, whereas those 3 leaders don't even show up here yet. They did less. The Good Vibes Club, Mad Lads, and Goblin Town all did less than 2.5 million.
It's just, and this kind of gets to the point, like, again, just to like reiterate, people want to blame OpenSea, people want to blame Blur. The problem is people need to want to own these things for a reason. And right now, companies have abandoned the reasons to own, and they have moved towards how do we make revenue off people, period, and what prints us the most money. And that, in general, across all NFT collections, is why we're seeing floors fall. Yes, floors fall because of the symptoms of having like these incentivized bidding platforms, but when you don't have a reason to want to hold the thing, you cannot have the buy pressure and the demand outweigh the supply. You just can't. Like, if your reasoning for holding Moonbirds is, I think there's a token coming and I can maybe buy a collectible that's an I don't know what, I don't know when, like, think about it. Why are Moonbirds cooking? Spencer bought them. Okay, that's exciting. He seems to know what he's doing. Oh, there's a token coming? All right, so there's going to be some money. All right, he's kind of working on our behalf, so he's kind of getting us a couple airdrops, so that's good. All right, we can do that. That's why they're cooking. He's at least trying, but like if there was like a lot of reasons to own across the board, more people would be buying him. There'd be more buy pressure. If people were like, if Spencer came out and said, there's going to be 5 airdrops in the next month that I've worked for, or there's going to be 5 airdrops and 4 events, and this is going to happen, and we're going to give you this, and we're going to give you this utility, people will be buying him. It's just the sell pressure is just too high. It's not because of a bunch of platforms giving incentivized opportunities. The sell pressure is high because demand doesn't outweigh supply in any of these. And that's the problem. And so like, that's where I get hung up on this, where it's like, well, let's blame this, that, and the other. Like, did Blur drive down initial cost because they created a higher demand than buy pressure at the time when they dropped? Yeah, it's definitely something that put the death nail. But I mean, I've got a chart on it. It wasn't Blur that marked the top of NFTs. It was NFT NYC 2021 that marked the top of the NFT attention and market cap. So it wasn't Blur, but Blur definitely, again, we talk about exacerbating the situation. Blur was a problem. It definitely drove down. It incentivized people to buy and sell at a loss because of but they created a bigger buy and sell demand problem until that went away. I don't think OpenSea and Blur are doing that anymore. I think that, a lot of these companies gave up on that aspect of it. And, I think that's something we need to get back to in the space, because it's why people like you and me and others are here. Joey, go ahead and get back in here.
Do we think part of the problem too is, which I think we've kind of talked about, is the cost of the asset versus what you're getting in return? Like, if like Moonbirds right now, we're at 3.5 ETH or something, or wherever they're at. So we're talking about a $12,000-$15,000 asset. Like, do we, and maybe this is just because I'm older, right? Like, and I look at like how I spend every single dollar, but like, if I'm going to spend $15,000 on an asset, I need to feel like I'm getting at least $15,000 worth of value in return. So like, if these assets were more reasonably priced, then I think there would be less of like, it would make more sense. Like, for $15,000 right now, like I can take my whole family to Japan for like 2 months or some shit like that. So it's like, how do you even deliver that much value when your asset costs $15,000?
Well, it's not necessarily
even
that.
the
The
thought
answer,
that some people think.
the answer to me is pretty simple on that one. It's that one. I don't think that's the case, right? I think that I think that it's not like necessarily you need to deliver $15,000 worth of value. Like, I think that like people buy things all the time. Like, value is different. Like, if you buy a treadmill for $1,200 or whatever it is, are you going to get $1,200 of value out of that treadmill necessarily? I don't know, but I don't think it's as simple as being like, oh, I'm going to get $1,200. You get value as everything's different people. If you deliver experiences that are one of a kind, like, the fact of the matter is a lot of people bought an ape and they said, I went to a private show with no bathroom lines and free drinks that had a show with Chris Rock, Aziz Ansari, all these, it's like, Lil Baby and Beck and the Strokes. People said, I saw Eminem, I saw Lil Wayne, I saw Future. Like, value is different things, different people. We've talked about it. Like, if there was a music festival every year where you got the front row ticket, the VIP experience, sort of like they're doing the Complex Con to a point, people might say, okay, the value is there. It's going to pay off over time. I want this thing. Like, I don't think it has to be you deliver back the value, but I think a lot of these brands, and I'm not talking about apes, by the way, like, I'm excited for Ape Fest. They're doing a lot there. We're, going to get to go to Complex Con. I just think a lot of these brands have sort of given up on delivering the value that people are excited about. It doesn't always have to be IRL, but getting creative about a reason to own an asset is how you get people to want to have these things in their wallet. And I think people gave up on that. They're like, well, NFTs are dead. Blur killed them and OpenSea's killing them. And I think that the problem is we need more.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying they completely gave up, but really it does seem that like, oh, well, nothing we do is going to matter. So let's just stop doing things.
Yep.
No, but apes do that shit. Like you guys have Ape Fest and stuff coming, and nobody fucking cares about apes. The floor and mutants is 1 ETH, and like you know what I'm saying. So all that stuff is kind of irrelevant. I agree with Joey because there's a guy named Patron that always fucks around with like Pocky and shit at Doodles, and he was just saying the other night, like everyone trolls him for not owning a Doodle, although he loves Doodles, and he's like Pocky, like dude, I can buy a gold chain for the price of like a real life gold chain for the price of a Doodle, or I could buy a Doodle with a gold chain. You know what I'm saying? Like, I agree. When you're a boomer and when you're old and you have kids and shit, like, bro, you can buy a fucking used car. You can buy a Honda Accord with 15 Gs. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of shit you can do with that money.
Well, I think that's to your point. You were talking about like concerts. Like, what was Rolling Loud, right? Like, they launched that NFT that granted you VIP access to all Rolling Louds, and like it was really easy to and like for however long or whatever it was. Like it was really easy to look at that NFT and say, wow, if I buy this NFT for 1 ETH, at the time I think ETH was only like $2,500, right? Like I can equate what I'm getting. And I'm not saying this is how it should be for every NFT. Like you should price what your holders get because price fluctuates. But like the people that bought those Rolling Loud NFTs, when they were buying them, they were justifying the purchase. Number one, because they were already attending those events and they knew how much it costs for VIP tickets to those events. So they were like, wow, $2,500 and I can go to 5 Rolling Louds across the United States and be VIP. $2,500 is nothing. So I do think at some point, and I understand value is different for everybody, at some point, you do kind of have to look at your holders or the people that are the new people and say, hey, listen, if you're going to pay 15 grand for this asset, this is what you're going to get.
Well, but
right now, we don't know what we're getting from anybody.
Well, good vibe right here in a second. I agree with that point, Joey. I think the important thing is you need to understand what your community wants, because a lot of people say, I can't travel everywhere, or I can't go to, like, for example, not a music guy. I think with Rolling Loud, I'm just going to be honest. The problem is you entered an addressable market that is already small in crypto, even smaller in NFTs, and then you're saying I'm issuing an NFT for this. I think if Rolling Loud issued that pass today with a Privy wallet and didn't call it an NFT and said you're getting a Rolling Loud pass for a long period of time, I think it would sell better, and I think people would do better. I think
this is it. Bingo. Real quick, I got to interject because that's the next wave of NFTs when they're not NFTs. It's people using exactly what you just described, but it's not an NFT, man. It's, hey, we've got this VIP pass. Here's how you buy it. It's going to stay in this wallet. Like, by the way, speaking of wallets, like we're getting really close to that becoming a real reality where people don't even need to go download MetaMask, Bravi, or Coinbase. It's going to be in their Samsung phone. It's going to be in their Apple Pay. Like we're really, really close to just what you just described working. And instead of an NFT, I got to go view on OpenSea. It's just in my Apple wallet, and it just so happens to be an NFT.
And do you know what the largest NFT collection is right now?
I bet it would be Ticketmaster, and when they issue tickets on secondary flow, am I correct?
Ticketmaster. So it's already. So what you're describing, Cap, is already happening.
Joey, you didn't think I was going to get that. You didn't think I was going to get that.
For us to talk about like price fluctuation of moonbirds or mutants, but it's kind of already happening. What you're describing, Cap.
Yeah, Joey did not think I was going to get that. He thought he was going to get a gotcha on the Ticketmaster. Can't slip that.
I knew you were going to get it, but I was hoping nobody else would. You follow this stuff, so you get it.
No, I'm kidding. But like honestly, like the problem is exactly what you said, Cap. I agree. And by the way, how about the fact that it's like, hey, you buy this VIP pass to Rolling Loud, you own it, and you can sell it on the secondary market to someone else when the concert approaches if you want, if you can't go. Or you can have a shadow token that leases it out to someone else. Like instead of calling it a shadow token, you could have a lend out, which means you press this button, someone else has access to it, and they hold control of it for that period of time. Like there are things you can do with this technology. We have a lot of hands. We're going to roll the stage here in a second. But like my point being about the Rolling Loud thing is that the addressable market was small. So you need to know what your holders want. And I know people are like, holders don't know what they want. They just want to make money. Well, guess what? If holders want to make money, you go to every single protocol like Spencer does, and you go to every single Kaido leaderboard, and you go to every single wall chain leaderboard, and you go to every single person on the leaderboard, and you say, I want to run something through my community and give you on my community on your world and get a percentage of the token drop. Okay, deal. Yeah, give us 0.1% of the token for blank, blank, and blank. Like that is what you do if your holders want money. If some holders want other things, it's like the part that drives me nuts, and then I will get off my rant. I promise, Von Front, and I know you got to get in here. The part that drives me nuts is that people look at it in such a monolithic way when it's like, my holders just want to make money. People only care about this. Like, that is so fucking reductive. I'm saying that specifically for Von Front because I know he likes when I use that word specifically. But that is so fucking reductive to be like, well, holders only want this or only want that. Or, hear me out, just like everybody who uses literally Starbucks, Delta, like other brands that I'm loyal to, Marriott, has different needs and different reasons and different things they like. Some people want a good hotel gym. Some people want a good hotel pool. Some, like when my mom looks for a hotel, she looks for a pool. Guess what? That means that your market is going to have multiple needs, multiple wants. And so you segment your customer. I know, mind blown when I talk about customer segmentation and people get mad at me about this because they're like, no, people just want to make money. Or you can do customer segmentation, not based on affiliation, because I've seen customer segmentation based on these people FUD, these people are defending no matter what, yada, yada, yada. This is the funnel. I'm not talking about a funnel, which people conflate with customer segmentation. By the way, this is one of the reasons why, like, I've applied or asked about marketing jobs in Web3, and people are like, yeah, but what are the vibes, bro, type thing, and then hire somebody who has a big CT following. It's like, if you do customer segmentation, you can figure out what the majority of your customers want. You can talk to them. Who are the people you care about? And then you could divide products that make sense for those people and see how they react and test and learn. And then you can move from there, do the retail holiday thing, all the things we talk about. Nobody's doing funnels. Nobody's doing customer segmentations. And like, you could do that. And then people would have a reason to own, and then things would go up in price. Like, I know people are like, oh, sounds so simple. Why don't you start an NFT collection and get everything right? It's not easy. It's really fucking hard, and it takes a lot of time. That's why you hire someone who is really good at this, who you pay enough money to make it worth their while to do so, and you have them dive in, do your customer segmentation, do your funnel, do your strategy, figure out the best way to reach those customers, figure out the way to convert, figure out what works, and continue to flywheel that and give demand to buy it. But the problem is, the thought process is like, well, none of this makes us money, so why are we going to invest this on the front end? You invest it on the front end because if you get a bunch of people who, love Doodles because of the things that you're doing, because of the utility, because of the membership reason, because of the identity, then a bunch more people will buy them to be part of it. They won't want to sell. And then you can sell those people things like vinyls and other things that are identity based. So that's the part that drives me nuts about this sometimes when we're having this conversation, is I think we miss the root cause at times. I saw Von Front, and I want to go Von Front first because Von Front has been waiting a while. GM, sir.
GM, I didn't know I was going to be following Spicy Marketing Steve this morning. So this is going to be fun. So I agree with everything that's been said, right? I look at this like I look at any business, and how leaders set vision and get people to buy into a vision, right? You establish a brand and you get people excited about your brand. So you are excited to do the thing, and then you deliver against that thing. I put this in the war room, right? And this is like not a bag bias thing, but like, we talk about all the brand or all the NFT collections who aren't doing the thing right now. I actually wanted to point out one that I actually do think is doing the thing. Look at G's, right? G's, and it's not a, it's not 10K PFP kind of a thing. It's barely even used as a PFP, right? But you look at what Rita and the team are doing, right? They launched an NFT. Then they gave you memes and, GIFs with your G's on it. Then they gave you these G's nuts ways to kind of level up and have access to other things. Then they gave you a 3D avatar on other sides so you could walk around with it. Then they launched Peanuts and they kind of financialized it a little bit, right? Now you can say, hey, I don't really like those products. That's not for me. That's fine, right? I don't like Reeboks as much as Joey apparently does, but they are allowed to still exist for people who like Reebok. But they're giving you a reason to hold. They're delivering on utility, and you can say, I like that utility or not, but they're delivering, and it's not just the thing that I don't think is a sustainable strategy that I see more and more projects doing right now is buy my thing, I'll get you a token, right? And that's the meta right now. And look, I hope to get a token for a lot of things that I hold right now. And I hope that it's more than, the effort that I put into it so that it's an EV positive. We'll see. But I think what you and Cap have been saying that I totally agree with, and I don't even say innovation and creativity, right? It's cool if there's new stuff, that's great. But like, just get back to running a business. Oop. If I'm running any business, Web3 or not, I need to give people a reason to buy my product. Period. That is not different if your product is a JPEG or if your product is a shoe. You need to give people a reason to buy your product. That is the only way that you can build a sustainable business in any market.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I had my mic muted there.
I was gonna say if you guys were talking, we couldn't hear you.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, you gotta build a real business. You gotta give more than just the hype and speculation. I see a comment here from Meta, just real quick. I understand what you're saying. It says the participants are selling during the OpenSea farm where they were always going to sell. Would have led to a slow beat out anyways. In my opinion, OpenSea farm is expediting and creating lower floor. I respectfully disagree because I think a lot of the sellers and buyers are people that are they weren't holding before. They're buying now because of the OpenSea farm. These aren't assets. Many of the ones that are selling aren't assets that they've been holding, or if they had been, when the sell-off start occurring, then yeah, maybe some of those holders start capitulating when the floor goes lower. But I think it's my overarching point is the marketplace farms lead to inorganic volume, inorganic buys, which time and time again has proved as a net negative for NFT floor prices.
Yeah, agree. It's a problem. It's not the problem. And if there was, and I think that's where we kind of are in the same spot. It's like, if there was, like, if people had like 25 reasons why they were excited, people would be like, cool, I'm glad you are listing your burbs because I'm buying more because of this. So it's like, if people had reasons for this, it would be a different story. I think the problem is people don't have the same reasons to hold. And it's like anything else, you need reasons to buy. Like, the product needs to be delivering on that. And I don't think it has to be like you're buying something for $15,000 and so you're getting $15,000 worth of value. Like, people buy stuff all the time because they get like, does anybody get that amount of value from like I bought like if you buy like a $500 watch, like, which is a nicer watch that's like, got good quality to it or whatever. It's like, you're getting $500 value out of seeing the time. No, you buy it because you like the fashion item, or you want to feel good, or you like the mechanics, or you like the brand, or they've hit you with the storytelling, or there's a million reasons why people do things. And guess what? Watch brands know their customer, and they know the storytelling, and they know the segments, and they know how to tell it, and they know what they want. And so they do multiple things like that. Like, it's just, they know that someone's going to pay more for a chronograph and it costs a little more to make, but it could sell for a lot more. So they're going to sell a chronograph watch and they're going to sell it as a more premium option. And like, it's just, this goes on and on. And so I think like understanding your market in the market you're in is something that we just don't see as much from these brands. And I think that's where the problem goes, is like, sure, farming's not great and it can hurt things, but like, it's the honest of a business to create a product people want to buy. And if you decide like, well, we don't even make money off royalties or anything, so who really cares? It's like, the product shouldn't be hype and speculation, or else you're going to end up with hype and speculation mechanics. So anyway, let's keep running. Let's actually go to Gaston Stones real quick. Gaston, GM.
Hey, GM Cap. Good morning. I listened to the conversation. Super nice, because I am an artist and I'm working in Web3 for 3 years. But it's true, everything is true, because all the time the Web3 changed the rules for the artist, for the project, for everything, But it's true when you say that you need to create you farm, And I am working about that. But sometimes when you are artist, sometimes some people believe in the artist because it's the other way for invested money. And in 3 years, and many people and buy my NFT because believing in my project. My project is so super simple. It's stay in Web3 and don't go up, because sometimes everything is crazy, and the collection and the holders and everything sometimes is crazy. But for that, when I listen to your conversation, and I say it's absolutely 100% true when you say that working in the create and and the name and the brand and the concept, because some people don't spend more money in the NFT because don't believe in the project or whatever. But unfortunately, in my in my history in Web3, the people believe in me, and because when I need something, the people and put the good energy and money and Ethereum and everything for working. So it's for me, your word is good, and that is true. And the people sometimes don't believe in nothing in Web3 because everybody going down. And I'm gonna say it's much better when you're working in your name and your project, in the personal project, because I am traveling sometime, and I am from Argentina, and right now I invested all my money for coming to Europe, because in Europe I gonna take it more option for create different stuff and different option for my people, for the Stone Kids. And right now the Stone Kids and Gaston Stone are working together because it's my personal brand.
I missed that in part there. Let's keep things moving here. I think Mr. C was next, and then let's go to Musty. Mr. C, GM.
Yo, guys. So first of all, I think the only consistent people in this space seem to be you guys. My biggest frustration is all the brands just do not seem consistent. I've held different brands for a little while, and let's face it, why did we really get into NFTs, right? And everybody's different, but let's just roll them off. Some people, it was because they love the art, they love the artist. That's where we really started, yeah? Some people, it's money. And then we have the loyalty, which is now where a lot of people are saying, right, we're in it for the loyalty. And the next one is focus for me. A lot of these brands just do not have focus. I hold some of these brands, yes, because some of them I want to make a living from the NFT space. Some I just love the art. And I think people get confused. It's okay to be in it to make money, because at the end of the day, if you're spending 15,000, 16, 20,000 on an NFT, you want either to make some money or to have something that is going to keep you saying, I need to keep this NFT. If I keep this NFT, I've got concerts, I've got packages, I've got, trainers, I've got this, I've got that. I just don't see it now. I think it's almost like a money grab from the brands, right? That sounds like a contradiction, a money grab, because obviously some of us want to make money, but there don't seem to be any giving. And I really have a frustration now in the sense that a lot of the original people that were in NFTs are saying, you know what? Why am I in it? I'm not going to part with this money for these brands to not know what they are doing or to be shape-shifting from one thing to another. There is absolutely no focus. And I repeat it, the only guys that seem focused in this space is you guys, turning up every day, doing more or less the same thing, offering new things to us, giving us the news. Everybody else is, I'm sorry to say, excuse my language, it seems like it's complete bullshit now, right? And I've been in it from the beginning, so I've seen everything. I'm going to pause there because that's my rant. I don't know what you guys say about that, but there's no focus at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there is no focus from a lot of these brands. I mean, I've said before, there's so many things that these companies need to do to understand their brand, understand who they are, and understand their audience, and you just don't see it. And I think that that's the part that I run into from a frustration perspective as well. Like, wholeheartedly agree with you. It's like, and again, it's not meant to be like us like saying we could run things better, and make it.
And we're not going to drop an NFT, but
right.
The CWC ticker is coming. We are going to drop a token.
Yeah, I mean, if we start going live on Pump Fund, great. Like,
we're gonna launch a Pump Fund token just so y'all can't farm us on OpenSea. You're not gonna farm our token to oblivion on OpenSea. I kid. This is a joke. The token will go to zero. Please don't buy it.
Yeah, but there's this issue with, like, again, like, and we've talked about this for a long time. Like, we've been talking about this since forever. It's just, again, I think a lot of these brands, again, we don't want to say gave up because they're doing stuff, and a lot of them are doing really well. Like I said, like I'm excited for Ape Fest. I'm excited to play in the Poker Classic. I'm excited to go to Complex Con. I'm excited to hang out with my friends. I'm excited for all the Ape Hotel things and everything going along there. But I just think companies don't care about fundamentally understanding their community anymore because they're like, well, that doesn't make us money. And it would if you actually built it and you actually had it.
I'm going back.
Guys, if you remember the word sticky, you know the word sticky, what it means, yeah? As in our industry or any industry product, sticky. These guys do not have a clue, right? And as you said, we don't claim to know everything, but it's like, it makes us wonder. We've been in it so long, thinking to myself, guys, come on. What are you doing?
So I'm going to go to Musty next. Perfectly well timed because circling back to something he said earlier, I agree with Steve. I'm looking forward to Ape Fest. I know a lot of my friends that are, and that team is still working. Now, might we like more collaborations or airdrops or magical internet money or more NBA stuff? Sure, but they're absolutely doing stuff. They're absolutely working. There is an annual flag, tentpole event that a lot of the community gets excited about, to which I would say if they weren't doing that, I can almost guarantee you that floor price on mutants would be a hell of a lot less than 1.6 ETH or 1.16 ETH. Like, it would be the reason it's still over $5,000 is because they are working. They are doing stuff. It may not be everything that everyone wants, but the team absolutely is working. They are shipping. They're doing a lot of stuff on the other side. And again, it may not be everyone's cup of tea, but the team does continue to deliver. They do continue to ship things, and I think that's important. Now, could there be more of a focus on what the base of holders are looking for? I think that's probably true for almost every NFT collection, but that's also the very tough position in leading an NFT brand is you're never going to make everyone happy.
But that's the thing, and we'll go to Muzzy here in a second. But that's the thing. It's like you're never going to make everyone happy. But who are the people you care about? Who are the ones that are going to support? Like you talk about like making money. It's like okay, like you're like. Again, without knowing, I could tell you a few things. Like people want to be proud of their NFT collection, so they want to see you do collaborations. Check. People want to get free money, so they want you to work with, sort of Kaido leadership boards and others to like help pump their stuff. Okay, check, right? People want to have IRL event opportunities as well as some virtual opportunities to get really good access. Check. Like, how do you offer those things and not just give up when you're like, well, we did one Discord meeting with a famous person and not enough people showed up, so people don't want this. It's like, look in the mirror and assess it like any other campaign and any other company would assess a campaign and then figure out what you want to do next. Don't look at it as a pass-fail grade. And there's way too many things like that like holders want regular meetings. Like, check. Okay. Like there's probably like 5 to 7 things you could say that people like to get that would keep your community engaged, that would turn them into a decentralized marketing organization for you. And you should do those things and put budget and a person in charge of it, not making it some skunkworks project for someone who has another job.
Yep, seems simple. Musty, get in here.
Yeah, but see, that's the problem, right? Is that you just named off all those things. Now, how do you do all those things all the time while making everybody happy, while having 30,000 NFTs or the floor needs to stay up? Like, you have to make people, yes, you have to make people want to buy into your business. But the problem is that this isn't fucking Web 2. You're not buying into a Marriott membership or something. This is people paying thousands upon thousands of dollars where the next day they could wake up and it could be worth 50% less than what they paid for it just for the idea that one day we're going to have a party or some shit. Like, I don't, and people keep, like, everybody's talking about NFTs and like what we can do. Like, what do you guys want from NFTs? Like, NFTs are overvalued. Even Doodles, I think, are overvalued. I think Doodles' fair value is probably a little bit less than here. So, like, what do we even really want from this shit? Like, what is all this shit even worth? Like, why are apes 10 ETH, right? If apes are doing other side and they're doing all this other shit, why are they worth 10 ETH? Should they be worth more? Like, should they be worth, like, what the fuck is the value of any of this bullshit? And anyway, if we're pivoting, if we think NFTs are going to become like Ticketmaster style things, what's the point of speculating on any of this shit? Might as well save all your cash, and whenever like Ticketmaster NFT comes out, you sweep the floor and you become a fucking top holder and sell it to all the normies or whatever. Like, it's all just kind of bullshit then, right?
Well, Ticketmaster NFTs are, well, one, I reject the nihilistic premise deeply. Like, I actually strongly reject that. People pay thousands of dollars for a golf club membership because they get to golf and have to spend money to use a grill. Like, they have to spend minimum amounts of money in a pro shop, and they do it for networking for people, for like a dozen people who the same dozen people they golf with or talk with every
The
single
price
week.
is the price, though, right? Like I can buy an ape right now to get, I could buy the golf membership being the ape and wake up tomorrow and now, the apes go from 10 to 9.2, right? Like it's a little different in my opinion.
But the flip side of that is that you have it's very nihilistic and it's very like, woe is the space. The flip side of that is it can go to $500,000 all the same if things are being done to get people. And so I'll name you some of the things. Like I just named off some of them. Some people like IRL events. All right, check. You want to do those really well, right? A lot of people just want free money and sitting at home. Okay, well, we live in a unique space where the blockchain enables that, where you can connect by clicking a button and you can potentially get that. So why biz dev teams aren't doing what Spencer did? Spencer took over Moonbirds, and one of the reasons they shot up in price is because they got like 4 airdrops and like 3 mints right off the bat just for holding a Moonbird. That is a biz dev position you can hire in this space and make work. Okay, check, free money. People want identity-based things and they want regular updates. Okay, so you do a regular update and you find multiple mechanisms to do that. Not just one, but multiple to do that so you can turn them into a decentralized or a marketing organization. People want recognition. Okay, check. Putting people in sort of things that you do and people having the opportunity to be recognized publicly and be featured. Like I said, even in the beginning, when apes were trying to like move their, trying to showcase their network, why they didn't do something on a regular basis that was featuring a different person in the network, big, small, and indifferent, I don't know. So I think I can name a few things. That's off the top of my head. But like what makes it worth it is you need to combine all those things together and understand what your customer needs. Maybe they are overpriced. You certainly could be right. But I like reject the premise that they can't be. And like Ticketmaster aren't even like, that's not an NFT that you're going to buy and sell. Ticketmaster is issuing a NFT that you don't know is an NFT based on an event you go to as a commemorative piece because it's just identity based. But there's so many things. Like if you told me that every year I started with, 5,000 miles from Delta because I own an ape because they want them to use their flights, people would do that and that would be a value. If you told me that, this is the thing. Go ahead, Cap.
This is the next. I truly believe this. I think this is the next thing that these NFT brands could be doing is, yes, more collaborations. It's easy. It's kind of low-hanging fruit in crypto and Web3. I truly believe. I mean, Spencer and what he's done with Burbs is case in point. If they're making the effort, these NFT collections with active communities are proactively reaching out to other brands, other protocols, other chains that have mints or launches or TGs coming, they can get reward for some or all of their holders. It's just a fact. It's not going to be 100% hit rate, but it absolutely is reality here in crypto. What we haven't seen and what I think could be the next truly like massive wave in terms of collaborations and value accrual for these NFT brands is exactly what you just described. Moving beyond the collaborations and airdrops or perks in crypto and partnering with some of these traditional in real life brands, Web2 brands, whatever you want to call them, that have other loyalty reward programs, like that sort of collaboration, not just I can buy this. No offense, it's just the most recent. I'm not taking a shot. I think it was well done. I love that they highlighted Doomers, but not just we're going to put our 2 brands together and you can buy this thing, or a pair of fuzzy slippers that you're going to put your brand on. You can buy this thing. That's cool. I'm not saying that they should stop doing that. What I'm saying is start partnering with the existing loyalty programs, like the airlines, like the hotel industry. That to me seems like, and maybe it's easier said than done, right? That's obviously harder than partnering with a crypto brand or a merch company. I get that, but I don't think it's impossible. And as soon as when that starts happening, now all of a sudden you have people who potentially are outside of crypto that want to come in and pick up these assets because they're huge Delta fans and they want to maximize their perks. Like why couldn't they partner with Ticketmaster, where those NFTs are very different. Like NFT is a technology, it's software. There could be literally thousands of different things, but once these big brands start entering this space, then it opens up like, okay, if you hold a Bored Ape, we got access to ComplexCon this year. Why couldn't we get pre-sale access to Lollapalooza next year? Or hey, if you hold a Pudgy Penguin and you buy a Lollapalooza general admission, we're upgrading it to VIP pass. Like I'm picking examples out of thin air. I'm not saying that any of these brands should do this or this is the exact answer. I'm just saying like the idea of collaborating and providing value, providing perks outside of crypto. I think there could be something there worth pursuing. And as more and more of these big brands start turning on their Web3 strategies, you would think it would behoove them to come into this space, and versus like a Samsung who just is launching their wallet, versus them coming in and launching an NFT collection, which would probably make no sense. Partner with the leaders here. Look at like the football.fun, again, a crypto brand, but look how they came in and immediately they provided perks for basically all the blue chip collections. A non-crypto native company can do the same thing. I just don't think many of them are going to do it organically. It's going to be a result of these Web3 brands doing proactive biz dev. I can't remember the guy's name that Spencer just hired. Josh, maybe?
I know, he's bald.
The bald guy that just joined Moonbirds. Like, he's in a position, he has background and experience and connections. He could do that, right? And I'm not putting this pressure. I'm not saying Moonbirds has to be the leader of everything this cycle. But yeah, man, like that might, for some people, they do some big collaboration outside of crypto and Web3. It's probably going to be more exciting than their merch drop for some of those holders.
And more people will buy their merch drop if they're getting these things because they'll want to represent them.
Yes.
People wear the merch everywhere when they feel a sense of pride and identity. That's the point I'm getting back to. Like, you know,
dude, I had these things right back in my fucking dumpster for a while. Now I'm a little more proud of Moonbirds because we got a leader that's actually doing things. The hat and the fanny pack are out of bust. By the way, if anyone can guess what's in my fanny pack, there's a few items in there. I said yesterday I would give 20% of my Mythic allocation for anyone that guesses the market cap of the Burb token exactly 24 hours after trading goes live. I'll give another 20% if anyone can guess the 3 items that are in my. No one's gonna get it. No one will ever guess what's in there. But if you want to,
chapstick, some liquid IV bullshit, and some other thing. You seem like some holistic bullshit. One of these type of things. And did I win?
Nope.
It's a good guess. It's a good guess.
But no one's gonna get it.
Yeah,
it's
like
the 3 most random things that you would never guess are together.
Yeah, some sort of vitamin of some sort, like magnesium L-theranosate, maybe, or something like that. But no, it's it's like, to your point you're making, you're like, hey, I'm not saying these are the answer, but like, again, I'm not trying to be like overly simplified here, but like, if somebody owns a $50,000 picture of a penguin, they probably fly a lot or travel or are willing to. So if you are an upper echelon hotel or airline, you probably would say, this is a community that is interesting that we could potentially integrate with, and they could build it for us. I think instead, a lot of these companies look at it where it's like, I feel like Pudgy Penguins will look at it like, well, we could do that, but we just want to get Delta to build on Abstract. It's like, that's not what you need to do. Yes, you could help them with that, but instead of trying to close that biz dev deal and get them working and, get some work behind the scenes on them, instead, you work with the company to say, just, give our holders a benefit and they'll fly your airline and you're going to make more money and you're going to switch people from one airline to the other. Like, I fly Delta pretty much exclusively because I have a credit card that gets me miles from it, right? It's just something I do. I take more connections, et cetera, yada, yada, yada. Oh, nice. Was that a penguin flying joke? No, Diablito, but it did work. If somebody with a Pudgy Penguin got told, you are getting for starters, you're going to get the same benefits we give to a credit card holder. You're going to get 50,000 miles to start by switching by using a Delta account. We're just going to give you. You connect your wallet here. You enter a little bit of information, and you get a 50,000 miles bonus point. Okay, it's like getting a credit card. Cool. Oh, by the way, you're going to get a rolling benefit of 2,000 miles every year just by flying. Like, everybody would switch. You would have more business from somebody who probably flies a lot. And it's like, you get a few whales in there and it works out really well for you. It's just, I don't get why. And it's just one example, but like, you talk about it, like, you have to ask. You need the biz dev person who's knocking on the doors and trying to actually get paid there. And I just don't think we have the biz dev people who are doing that. And it's like, just seen as so transactional and linear in this space now. Cap, we probably got to do a death fund today at some point. So you want to pick someone?
I think Zane should get it for his most recent whiteboard drawing.
I did not see the Zane. Did he drop it in the war room? Oh, wow. Okay. Yep. All right. Zane, you want to play? If you're listening, do you want to play or do you want us to play for you? You tell us, Zane, if you are paying attention. I know he almost always is, but Zane, hit me in the war room if you want to play, and we'll try to do a real-time thing here as well. See if we can get that going. If not, we'll get someone else. He says,
"Oh
"You
my
guys."
God, Doomers is one of 3. That's all I'm going to say. Doomers has one of 3. I did not think anyone would get that one. Riggs, you could not be more wrong. But Doomers has one of 3. Unbelievable that he got that right.
All right. Let's
unbelievable. I'm actually in shock because it's completely random. It's completely.
I mean, it's not that random.
It's random, man. Like, where do you, dude? Do you ever like you? Where am I going to be?
Not
Like,
me. I mean, but you know, I get it.
Random thing ever.
If it's the one that I'm reading, it's not that random, considering all things.
I'm not wearing this thing out on dates. It is random.
Oh yeah, I see why you're saying that. Got it. All right. Let's do Death Fun. We're about to do Death Fun. We're gonna play for Zane here. So Zane, just send me your wallet address so I have it here. For people who aren't familiar with Death Fun, I will pin to the top. Or Cap, can you go and scroll through my feed and pin to the top our Death Fun ref link so we can get it while I get Zane going? So we're gonna pin to the top our Death Fun ref link. So basically, what you're gonna get here is if you sign up through our Death Fun ref link and you do $20 worth of play, you're going to have the chance to win $1,000 from Death, courtesy of Death Fund. One person uses that ref link, it does at least $20 in play, which is like 0.005 ETH or something. So if you do put 1.001 play, you could play, get 1 green tile, cash it out, call it a day, and boom, you have gotten yourself onto that potential entry. But it is time for the Coffee with Captain Death Fund gameplay. Death Fund, the home of DGen Dice, Laser Party, and the original Death Fund game is bringing the chaos to Coffee with Captain with at least $3,000 in prizes up for grabs, just depending on how the game goes. Tune in for your shot daily for your shot to play. And don't forget to use our referral link and play $20 for the chance to win that $1,000 grand prize. Cap will pin it up to the top. You can see it. All you got to do is go to that, click on that button to use my referral link, play $20, and you have the chance to win $1,000. Like I said, you could play, you could win, you could call it in there. So we're going to go, I'll play the first one, Cap. You'll play the second one for Zane. And we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to start with the right, old reliable, and I have already hit red on the right. So right is not feeling strong this morning, Cap. The tails never fails of Death Fun failed. Cap, do you want to try another one?
I'm going to go right. We're going right back to it. Right never fails.
Again?
Yeah.
Again?
One more time.
Okay. One more. So where are we going now? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
2.
Oof. All right, I'm cashing Zane this, and then we're going to go for a God run, is what we're going to do. Because we had a tough run with Teacher Katie yesterday.
That's $100. That's $100.
Yeah. We're going to put Zane.
You'll be able to buy an oddity for $100.
We're going to put Zane. Make sure you DM me your wallet address. I gotta put down all my wallet address next to it. We're going to cash Zane out right here. And then we're going to flip it right back. And we're going to start for Zane, and we're going to try to do a God run here. And maybe we'll give Zane an extra run potentially here just to get cute with it. But you're luckier than me, so why don't you go want to go every other one and figure out who we're gonna blame? Where do you want? I'll start with right.
Right's always right. Right's always right on That Fun.
You want to go right?
Yep.
I'm gonna go second from the left.
Right. Right's always right.
All right, Zane, we're moving for you now. I'm gonna go middle.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Now, the question is, do we cash him here so that he walks out with a little bit more money because we love our guy Zane, or do you want to try to get to, do we really want to go for it here?
What do we know what the record is? Like, has Death Fund shared? Has anyone ran it all the way to the top? What's the biggest?
I don't know. I've seen some big payouts on there before, though. So we got an opportunity here. Do we want to just keep running it?
0.01 is the min 0.01. What's the minimum you can buy? Because I might try to do the God run today if I can buy in for less than 0.01.
We can go all the way up to 380x. So
you have to start with at least 0.01.
No. You can start with 0.001.
Ooh.
Or anything you want there, so you can get really cute with it. All right. So Zane says we can keep running for this one. So it's on you to get one of these four. So do not lose money for our guy Zane. He's one of our favorites.
Right's always right.
Right's wrong. Whoa. Oh my God, I was feeling that one. I thought we were going to have a run.
It's worse when we lose for someone else than it does with my own, if it's my own play.
It hits me so much harder when we lose for a community member. But Zane's going to make some money.
I legitimately feel guilty for guessing wrong.
Yeah, Zane's going to win some money on Death Fund. I kind of want to play again. Should we play one more?
Yeah, let's do one more. It's a Friday.
It's a Friday. This is exactly, by the way, this is exactly how you lose money gambling, by the way, is you go, let's play one more, and then you just lose on the first turn. All right, I'm going to go first. I'm going to go right. Cap.
Right again.
I'm gonna keep this. I feel so nervous. Fuck. I knew it. I was not gonna go right, and then I went right. All right. Well, we tried, dude. It's so fun. Like Joey Vowles was saying, he's like, it's addicting. Like you sit there and you play it over and over again. And so, like we said, if you want the chance, if you're listening, and you want the chance to win $1,000 courtesy of Death Fun, we appreciate them partnering with us. And also, this is the best way to get us to continue to have partners. Because if you give us good results on this campaign, we can go to other partners and be like, look, our community plays the games, and you don't even necessarily have to lose money, right? And I'm not saying it's not financial advice. You don't know. You could get caught. But there is a real world where you go onto Death Fun and you play a couple of rounds and you just go boom, boom, green, green, cash out. You played your $20, you're good. Chamber says, yeah, I've lost out on $50, kept playing and should have cashed out. It happens, but you know, we've been there, but gonna be fun. But yeah, if you log into Death Fun, pinned to the top, click on it, play $20 to our ref link, you're entered to win $1,000. It's just that simple. So definitely recommend. I'm going to pin that to my profile probably after this weekend again, just so people can see it a little bit easier. Right now I'm doing, I'm you know, that 1,000. By the way, my profit and loss since we've been playing for people on this thing now is like negative 0.145 ETH. So, but that's because we've been playing for people just these 0.1s over and over again. And obviously we've been losing out like a decent amount. So, you know, because we're going for the God runs because we want somebody to really win out big on this one. So we're gonna have another big win. Love seeing our friends here win though. But yeah, make sure you are playing. I think we've had, and I don't think it's that competitive at the moment, honestly. Like I think, you know, I think we're seeing some people play, but I don't think it's super competitive at the moment. I'm kind of looking right now at it. So, you know, copying over what the ref link looks like at the moment. So
I got to share. I wasn't planning on doing this. I'm like legit in shock because 2 of the 3 items have been guessed, not by the same person. Rolling papers, good guess, but not in there. Legit in shock. Like I did not expect anyone to get this. After I made the comment on Doomers, I think a few other people connected some dots. But we've got Doomers. Doomers had a correct guess, and then I think it was
probably Ian. If I was looking at this,
no, someone put it in the abstract chat. Now I'm not finding it, but I know. It must have been Diego or, man, this is bad hosting here. I really didn't think it would.
I mean, is it a salacious item? Can you just say the second item?
Yeah, I was trying to give credit for whoever guessed it, but I can't find it. But someone guessed a toothbrush. There is a random travel toothbrush in here. No idea why. I mean, I know why. I packed it in my travel bag, but it was the only thing that got left. And then yeah, again, not like trying to creep everyone out, but Doomers guessed that as right as well. So we've got toothbrush and some condoms, and then one other item in there, and it's just the most random hodgepodge of things in a Moonbirds fanny pack.
Ball gag. Look, we good discussion this morning across the board. I know we're hitting about the 10 o'clock hour. We didn't hit on like most of what I had on my list, which is I think good. Because I had some other stuff on there, right? It's like some things I want to hit on, but nothing that wasn't evergreen that we can't kick forward to. I do want to give credit to VFriends. They got a Walmart collab coming out with their comics. So like, you know, we talk about Walmart, we say, oh my God, it's all so great, but we didn't like. You know, Griggs will be disappointed because I was going to have a doodle rant this morning, but we talked about a lot of good stuff. So I didn't go on my doodle rant this morning. So that was probably good. Probably take a beat.
Fly over it?
What's that?
You want to fly over it or no?
I mean, I'll give a heads up on it just because whoever's still listening or may not care. Look, I mean, I'm somebody who loves Doodles art, who has been in the community since day one. I was probably one of the first like 20, 50 people in the Discord very, very early on. Got invited by Evan. One of the founders. Fan of like what they were doing, fan of what they were building. I put them in my best-selling book. I talked about them at Harvard, USC, and at major conferences. I have we had the team on this show like a dozen times at least, and like when nobody wanted to talk to them, we gave them air cover, and we were big supporters of the brand. I would say if you looked at my posts, let's say I have 500 posts, I'd say 497 are probably positive about Doodles. I'll hit on it yesterday because this happened. When Julian left Doodles, this happened like 3 or 4 times. I'll give 2 examples. When Julian left Doodles, I basically said, I'm here, I'm supporting, but I don't love the fact that he took a parting shot at it. I had people sending me like nasty messages or sending nasty messages about me to group chats that they didn't know that people were screenshotting for me. So like that happened. So I thought that was kind of lame, right? So, you know, it's people who like were, by the way, really nice to my face, who would say things behind my back that were not so nice. Yesterday, I posted, I would say, a pretty positive post. Like, I give credit where credit's due, etc. And I said, snag one of the Doodles Fruit Loop box yesterday. It's a unique collectible. There's a fun raffle mechanic, and nobody does a better job featuring community members in major brand partnerships. Pumped to see my guy Doomers on the box. Well done by the Doodles team. And I bought one. The response I get is, crazy. Not too long ago was mass exit. Crypto journalists are really something. To which I replied, both can be true. Community members who don't know how to be objective are really something. They proceeded to argue with me about like 3 members left, and I'm such an idiot, and which is like not true. It was like 7 to 10, including, I believe, multiple product leads. So, you know, French Low, Squinch, both left. Greeny left. Their biz dev lead, Austin, left. Their legal lead, who a lot of people didn't know, left. Golden Wolf lead left, right? Like, we saw that happen. And several behind the scenes. And I got kind of frustrated. And he's like, but how many other teams do the same? Keep that same energy. And I'm like that 0, but I will. We do talk about it. We talked about things with Allegre. We've talked about it with Yugo. We talked about it with all sorts of brands, etc. And I basically said, don't worry. I don't need me to be posting. And he goes like, you have a strange bias against Doodles. To which I kind of said the same thing I said here about like all the things I've said, the positive, the etc., all those other things, right? Like literally had their community manager, Pocky, being like, love you, bro. We should catch up soon. I think, and I'm not saying this in a way to be like I'm taking my ball and going home, although I guess I kind of am. I think I'm done just posting and talking about Doodles at all. Like, I like the art. I like Burnt Toast art. I have had so many bad experiences with a lot of the community members here at this point, including leaders in the community who didn't know that I knew they were talking trash about me for a post that said, I love Doodles. I'm supporting the brand, but I don't love the way that they took a parting shot at Julian. Like, so I just kind of am at the point where I'm like, I think I'm kind of over this. I think I'm kind of done talking about him, and I've had enough. So all these people who have sort of gone out and kind of lost their gone out of their way. I have had at least 2 positive posts where I've said something positive about Doodles, and a bunch of people came in from the community to talk shit to me. It's like, okay, great. Like, that's the reinforcement. If you want to know why people aren't joining your community, it's because there is this toxicity that exists. So my main point, I won't go too deep into it, is like I got really frustrated with it because it's like sort of a last straw moment where I'm like, all right, so I left my Doodle chats, so I'm out of those. Like, I was in some Doodle chats, I left them all. I did see Pocky responded to me after I left a Doodle chat and said I'll never post about Doodles again, and so like maybe there was a motivation there. I don't know. I love Pocky, but like, the fact of the matter is, I have seen enough screenshots of community leaders talking shit when I said something that was not even that inflammatory. And even the team was like, yeah, man, I know it's not, like, I had people on the team at the time being like, I know it's not cool, but, you know, like, they just love Burnt Toast and they get defensive about him. It's like, okay, well, how about the fact that, like, I want Easy to get paid. You're paying Easy to talk about you right now. He wasn't talking about you when he wasn't getting paid. And I'm not saying that as a knock on Easy. He should get his money. He should do his thing. We had you on the show and nobody else would even bother having you on the show. On launch days when nobody wanted to talk about your launches, on G-Shock launch days, and other things, we had you on the show. We talked about you.
All organic. There's never been a paid sponsorship. The only thing Doodles ever gave us was one vinyl to give away, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And I did consulting for them for like 3 months. It was a short-term thing. Like, but that was long after all of this. I did consulting for 3 months like last year, long after all of this. Prior to this, I had people asking me if Doodles was paying me because I was posting so positively about them. And I just like the brand. Posted about the studio, posted about the partnerships, talked about them at Fortune 500s and major agency, talked about them at major universities, put them in my book. So the fact that I've now had like community leaders, people within the community now, and this was just one of those like final straw moments for me where I'm like, okay, so I bought the Fruit Loop box. I complimented on them something to do extremely well. And their answer was, I want to bring up a post you put up like 4 months ago, which was fucking true, by the way. Like, true. Like, you want to use the term like, oh, it's not a mass exodus. French Loaf, leadership. Squinch, leadership. Austin, leadership. Julian, leading the whole company. Legal lead, gone. Like, and that's 5 people without naming. Golden Wolf lead, Ingy, gone. So 6 people in leadership leave in a 5-month period of time. Any Fortune 500 company would be like, there is a mass exodus going on. What's the problem? Doesn't happen in Web3 that often, even like that. Does sometimes, and we talk about it when it does. So I guess my rant is like, at this point, like, I'm not somebody who's trying to spend brain space and energy where even if I talk positively about something, it's going to get ripped. And like, I don't need to give air cover to things. I really don't. And so I'm not saying like, oh, I'm a big dealer, it matters. And I'm not saying we wanted credit for any of those things. But Cap and I have talked about this behind the scenes. Over the past 4 years, I would defy you to find someone who is a creator in the space with a platform between Cap and I who have given more air cover and more positive love to Doodles. And if the community thinks it's bad because I had the occasional tweet about them that is even neutral or an observation around all of that, just feels a little bit sketchy. Like I said, in community leaders, people who are big in that community didn't know I had access to, didn't know that I have friends who are like, hey, man, this is being said about you. So, like, I don't need to spend the time and energy on it. And it's just like I said, maybe it is a take my ball and go home situation, but like, there's a lot of cool stuff going on in this space. Like, doesn't have to be something I need to do. So it was just one of those things where I had this final straw moment. I'm sure I'll come back around at some point. And if they have something really, really cool, I'll talk about it. But like, I don't need to post positively about the Fruit Loops box. It's something, and by the way, a lot of people talk shit about your Fruit Loops box. A lot of people said like, should have gone free to holders, only 500. There's no cereal in it. A lot of FUD posts. Mine wasn't, but like, here we are with the community telling me I'm an asshole for it. So, just not something I need to spend time and energy on. I have loved the brand. I love the art. I was actually shopping for a doodle. I no longer am. And, I was going to, I forgot to put my wallet address when I checked the Fruit Loops. I was going to get the wearables. I don't even care anymore at this point. I'm just not going to do it. It's just one of those moments where it's kind of like throwing me over the edge with it because I've seen enough between community leaders and community members that, like, if you want your community to grow, my recommendation is when people post nice things, like, be nice and be welcoming. Don't be yelling at them, especially somebody who, again, if you check the tapes, again, I would guess if there's probably 1,000 posts, 997 of them are positive or something. So not much I can do there. So that's the rant. And it's like, if a community is not welcoming, then people aren't going to want to be part of it. It's part of a bigger issue. So that would be my take on it is, look, I love, the art that Burnt Toast put together. I was grateful to be part of the community from the beginning. I just don't see value in putting brain space towards it anymore. If I have a single thing that is a question about the direction of the brand, which, by the way, we were also right. Like, the way it's gone directionally since then has not been positively trending, whether you look at price action or otherwise. And so our perspective on the disorganization on it seems to be true when you end up firing your whole product team, or you're not firing, but your whole product team ends up leaving, I should say. Your biz dev ends up leaving, your legal ends up leaving, your leader of your studio ends up leaving. Like, probably directionally was correct. So, I mean, it's a rant, but it's like a part of the power of NFTs is community. Can also be a real downside. And if a community feels some type of way and acts some type of way, then like, people aren't probably going to want to participate in it. And I don't need to spend time, energy, and brain power on things like that. I have been critical of many communities. Doodles is the only one that when I put a positive post out, has something to say about it. And they're the only one that's been this negative towards me when I put out even a neutral or post questioning things comparatively to any other community I've been a part of. So I just sort of like hit that exhaustion point of like, I went to all the events. I traveled to Chicago for the opening of camp. I loved a lot of what they're doing, at least tentatively for the near future. Not planning on putting my brain power in anything related to it anymore because the community just feels toxic, man. And I love some people in that community. I love Doomers. I love Dude Lifts. I love a lot of those people, but like the toxicity of it, I love Pocky. It's not my bag anymore. And just a sort of a lesson to people. It's like, give your opinions, but a snarky jerk comment on a positive post does not land well with people. So I'll leave it at that. I'll call it a day, and I will, that's sort of my rant, but it's been such a, like, people were like, I had a couple of people being, it was one person, whatever, that person's a jerk. It's happened with multiple at this point, including people talking trash behind my back who didn't know that because of a post where I literally said, didn't love that they took a parting shot at Julian for everything he did. I think he deserved better, but I'm excited for the brand. We'll be excited to see what they build. Still looking forward to it. They took that and said some pretty nasty things. So we call it a day. So take my ball and go home, call it a day. Everybody can do their thing. I thought about putting like an absolute rip post on the timeline. Because, by the way, that post would cook way harder than any of the nice things I said, but I didn't. I'm not going to be that guy. Maybe still in the future, who knows? But kind of over it on that one. And it's just, I've sort of a last straw moment where it's like, between the community leaders and community members, I just don't need to spend my time and brain energy on that anymore. So, we ride, we go on. And, I would say to the person who's talking trash and saying that I have this unnecessary bias against Doodles, I would challenge you to say if you've done more for the Doodles brand and supported it more than I have, because I don't think you have. Anyway, Cap, end rant.
Fair rant. And I don't, it's odd to me. Like the one comment in particular just doesn't make any sense. It's just, it's wild how you give a complimentary comment or a complimentary post and people are referencing back to something you said months ago that was an accurate statement. I just, whatever, head scratcher for me. I don't know what, we talked a lot about NFT Communities Day, and there's definitely 100%. I think the best analogy you've used is the sports team analogy. It's like, man, there's people out there that are, they wear a Jordan Love jersey 3 days a week. And man, if you say anything that's not 100% positive about the Packers, they're going to come at you. You're the enemy. It's a societal thing beyond NFTs, but it's like, I think that, I think for like, it is. I guess to take the other side of it, not saying it's good, not saying it's proper, not saying people should be like that, but it is, kind of the bull case of NFTs, as there is so much collective pride in these communities and the jerseys they wear. I can't think of anything else like it other than sports fandom.
But did you see, like, when I critiqued where Abstract could be doing better, I had a bunch of comments of people from Pudgy Penguins and Abstract being like, totally get it. Abstract community leaders saying, totally get it. Like,
yeah.
And it's not that they're kissing my ass. It's because I'm not like anybody. Like, I have posted to 300 impressions. I'm not that important. It's that they read it objectively and said, cool. And by the way, they certainly don't go when I'm like, Abstract August, going awesome, got these points. They like, Finn doesn't go and comment, or people don't go comment and be like, hey, isn't this guy who was talking shit about Abstract last week? They're like, I'm glad to have you back, man. Good to see you back, right? It's this weird insecurity or whatever it is that you see from it. But to your point about sports teams, Nebraska comes in and plays Ohio State. We beat them and they walk out and they're just like, hey, good game. You guys are good. We appreciate that. It's like, guess what? I feel a lot better about rooting for Nebraska. I feel a lot better about rooting for fans that on the fan base, on the whole, are nice, friendly fan bases, or ones that can kind of get on board with it. But it's like, and most aren't like that. Like you said, sports fandom is crazy. It's just, you live in a world where like, think about this. I'm one of the only people that has a consistent creation strategy on X who is posting positively about Doodles regularly. Like, one of the only people you'll find. Like, who posts positively about Doodles as a brand as much as I have over the past 4 years that shows up this much? Okay, go find some more people, because like, you're gonna have to pay them, because like that's what you did with other people, and it's like, I did it for free because I love the brand.
There's no one, because nobody fucking cares about Doodles. Dude, Doodles community is one of the most toxic shit on planet Earth. Why do you think Roops doesn't show up to anything Doodles fucking ever? I mean, I love some of the boys there, but they know that they're a fucking cult, and they're like washwomen that just talk. Bro, anytime I talk shit about Doodles, Licks just wakes up from the dead and comes to give me some bullshit in the group chat that you just left out. Dude, you cannot talk shit about Doodles, bro. It's not worth your time to talk positively or talk shit about Doodles. It's really just one of the most cringe communities to be a part of. I will probably sell my Doodle before the cycle's over. I know I fucking round tripped or whatever, but there's also no reason to be a part of the Doodles community at all. They get nothing. They do nothing. They just do cool shit, and you don't need to actually be involved in any of it. There also is no community. There's like 7 people left, and Doomers is one of them.
And Doomers is a good one. It's but yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, so it's like, but it's like funny.
You're just taking Poopy's advice. You were just a couple years late. Fitting. I don't know if you saw this or not, but I see Poopy's just 42 minutes ago says it's been 2.5 years since Poopy's infamous Flort get the F out message to disgruntled holders in the middle of the Doodles pivot. He got eviscerated for it. Pretty sure I even commented about it back then. 2.5 years later, I think he was right. And he follows up to say, I get it. I've been there, but NFT tokens, etc., are just like any other investment. Need to deal with them as emotionless decisions. It's almost always negative EV to hold something if all it does is drive you to do is bitch about it. Musty, he's talking to you there. probably much better use.
Whoa, dude, hang on, slow down, dude. Okay, it's kind of crazy. I bought this fucking doodle, and all I did was just talk shit about them the whole time. I guess it's kind of retarded. I probably could sell them for fucking 20 bands or whatever.
I mean, the other flip side is you could pull the JJ cycle and FUD Moonbirds relentlessly for years, keep rocking the gold PFP, only to then be redeemed when it's sold to Spencer and runs back up.
I'll do the H thing, like you guys say. Yeah, I round trip this $200,000 asset for the vibes and for the community and stuff. That's what I'll tell myself.
I wish it was only 200K that I round tripped.
Yeah, I round tripped a whole lot more than that, Musty. Yeah, it's way worse than that. But that's why we're doing a job instead of fucking off to the beach, right? So, yeah, no, but by the way, like Jamber says, sell your doodles. I sold my doodle. When I started feeling and by the way, some people like shit on me for that privately. I saw a couple of things on that when I sold my doodle. I'm up like, it's fallen like 50% on the floor since I sold my doodle. So it was probably the right move. But like, it's like, I didn't want to sell it because I loved my doodle and I loved the way it looked and I loved the way it felt and I wanted to, hold it. But like, there just came a point when it was like the money was more important to me and they weren't doing a lot for the community and I didn't agree with the direction of where they're going. Like everyone was like, you don't understand. DreamNet fixes this. Well, DreamNet's gone. And it's not even about the brand anymore and what they're doing. It's about what Musty just said, which is there's just a level of toxicity I deal with from that community when I felt like I was part of it. It's like probably besides Apes, it might be the brand I've talked about the most positively. Overwhelmingly,
from my perspective, I think it's, if I were to say which brands in this space have you been the most complimentary on this show for the last 4 years, one is OpenSea. I kid, it's a joke.
VFriends would be in there though.
Yeah, I would get to say the top 3 for sure are Apes, VFriends, and Doodles, and I think you probably I do think you've talked Doodles more favorably than even VFriends, which you've been a big fan of from the jump. So yeah, it's one thing to, you can sell your asset and move on. I'm not trying to get my inside of your head and say how you feel or I know how you feel, but it's a little kind of like I don't want to say slap in the face. I'm struggling for the right proper words, but for someone who I know you and I know how you genuinely feel about the brand, how supportive you've been organically, to kind of get these unwarranted attacks is maybe too hard of a word, but you've done nothing but right by the brand. You've provided some candid, valid feedback, and to get the shots from the community like that would be, I would make me feel away as well.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Like it's bizarre.
I know we're running long here. One other thing, and maybe just to kind of queue up something for Monday, it is newsworthy this week, and I meant to fly over it earlier. I just saw a couple of posts. I'll share real quick. I didn't even know if you saw. But at least highlighting or mentioning what has, and I don't know all the details. I've just seen headlines and then I saw these 2 posts, but the seemingly Future versus restructuring, I've heard they may be insolvent or going into receivership. Schiller, who is a big fan, says, I think I'm forever going to have PTSD over this Futureverse thing. So many people, myself included, were devastated by it. I honestly don't know what to say about it. Goes on to some announcements for Ready Player One, Virtual Experience, FC Barcelona, PF, like all these deals, a lot of stuff, Story Protocol, the list goes on. Sort of felt like every launch was done purely as proof of concept, but nothing within not marketed, promotional videos, et cetera, As long as something launched, as soon as something launched, it was almost instantly dead. I figured they'd have a respectable runway with how much funds they did raise, how many people are supporting it. It's just really tough pill to swallow. I'm thankful for the connection they made. There'll be a lot of people who completely leave the Web3 space because of this. And it's the sort of thing that I fear much about the stigma against crypto. At this point, I'm just yapping, but what a ridiculous turn of events. I also had someone in my DMs yesterday that said they picked up a Futureverse for 0.02 yesterday. That floor had gotten so low. I don't know where it goes from here, but I do think because there's so many of these passionate community individuals, and then this post here from Shay, who was on the team, or maybe not on the team, but was actively working with some adjacent projects like Root Name Service, et cetera, has moved on as another opportunity. So again, they raised over 54 million from T10 Holdings, Ripple Labs, Core Partnerships, and failed fast, man. Like they burnt through a lot of money, and I'm not sure all the detail, but it's got some feelings out there, and this isn't like a doom and gloom NFT day, but I think it would be remiss if we didn't mention another big one that's had somewhat of a fall from grace here, and how they've unwound things has left the those that were deep in that community feeling not great.
Yeah, it's hard. And it's hard because like people like throw out the baby with the bathwater and sit there and be like, oh, NFTs are all dead and there's no way to do this and you can't build. And sort of some of the stuff Musty was saying earlier. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that way. It's just there's just everything we talked about this morning without really going over the whole thing. It's like, I just think we've lost our way in how the companies who built them look at them. Because again, I think the companies also sometimes get jaded about their holders too, where it's like if holders are always yelling at them and they just want floor price to go up and things, I get where they get jaded. But I think a lot of these companies, maybe they try things, startups are going to fail. But I think we've lost our way with NFTs and the power of what they can do. I'm not saying these things should be worth, I don't know what they should be worth. But I do know that when your response as a company is, well, Abstract's only going to make money if people build on Abstract, and, they're not going to make money on Pudgy Penguin sales. So what difference does it make if Pudgy Penguin's floor goes up or down? Do we need to build against that? Like, then, and I'm not saying that's what they're saying, but like just giving it as a hypothetical example, well, then nobody's going to want to buy a Pudgy Penguin, and then nobody's going to want to buy Pudgy Penguin merch, and then no one's going to want to buy the vinyls. And it's like the flywheel you create, the importance of building a strong brand. Apple is behind on every technological innovation, but people have Apple products because they think different and they like the brand. Nike shoes aren't any better than shoes you can get for half the price, but they've built a brand and they've built demand and they've built equity. You need to do this as an NFT project. Like, what do they want? Why do they want it? How do you build it so that it's a brand that matters? How do you make it so, you talked about the Moonbird stuff you brought out, like just to bring it full circle. How do you make it so someone wants to wear a Bored Ape hoodie, a Pudgy Penguin hoodie, a Good Vibes hoodie, a Moonbirds hoodie in public, and when they're dying for someone to ask them about it? They're dying to tell them about it. How do you make it so they fly wearing a hat that has a moonbird on it and someone says, what's that symbol on that hat? It's by building a brand. It's not by just saying like, okay, we're going to drop a token, and which is not a knock on Moonbirds. I think Spencer's doing a good job doing a lot of these things. He's got biz dev people. He's trying to build the brand. But so many are not doing that. And I just think we got to get back to that if you want to see success. Like, your community is going to be your heart and soul, your product testers, and I think that we need to see more of that. So, yeah, I just think we got to get back to our ways in Web3 and NFTs, or else, yes, we are going to be farmed to death, and all of these farms will have a downward spiraling effect. So, I think that's that. I'll kind of end it on that one, Cap.
Yeah, good show today. A lot of great feedback. A lot of people, I think, enjoyed the conversation. Maybe it was cathartic for some. Maybe some are crying tears of not joy this morning. But just like the conversation with Doodles, we talk about this stuff. We share because we care. It's not over. It's not like everything's not going to zero. It's just we're in a very end of the risk spectrum as far as investments, and I'm of belief that NFTs perform best when they're not hyper financialized products. Rather, it's building something that the people there want to be a part of, they want to participate in. There's things going on that they're enjoying, they're having fun. I still remain optimistic that we can get that back. It's not just going to happen by default. So whereas I don't think the current state of the market, the down day, the 24 hours is solely a result of OpenSea's farm, I absolutely do believe it's having a negative impact. And when you're having when the market has headwinds like this, when there's negative things driving down price, it's even more important for these communities to step up and deliver, to give their community something to root for, something to participate in, something to give them a reason to hold this device to where they don't care that it's down a little bit because they weren't planning on selling anyways. And I think when more and more time that goes by where there's not that activation, there's not that community event, there's not a reason to be holding, human nature is going to start questioning, like, why am I holding this? Like, yeah, I enjoy this community, but last month it was worth twice as much as it is today. How am I going to feel a year from now? Like, I think it's, again, I'm not blaming OpenSea, but it is absolutely it's impacting the market today. And I don't think we can dispute that. To the level, we could dispute that all day. But when you have something like this occurring, I think it's even more important for these companies to roll up their sleeves and dig in a little bit. And what can we do to? I'm struggling for a better word, but like, what can we do to distract the community? What can we do to keep them engaged and not just because if there's nothing to engage, if you're just hanging out in the Discord, then naturally you're going to focus on price a little bit. It's easy. Whereas think back to 2021, yeah, it was easy numbers going up, but it was also like there was always something new going on, like the speed that these companies were shipping, the speed of innovation. And when we say innovation, like may sound cheesy, but there was all kinds of new stuff. And the new stuff we've seen this cycle is NFT strategy, is a fund that's buying NFTs that has a token with it. Like, yeah, it's different, it's new, but that's not something that's going to get everyone in the community excited about, right? It's going to aid into the speculation. It's going to add to the hyper financialization. I just, I'll land it with that. Like, would love to see the first crypto native NFT PFP project partner with a Delta or a Marriott, or that concept of how can these assets lead to in real life rewards? Because then all of a sudden it doesn't have to be for everyone. But if I'm getting an extra $500 of value when I travel because I hold this asset, and I get in a complex con ticket or a festival ticket that's valued at a few $100s a year for holding this asset, now all of a sudden, if there's 10, 20, 30 different $100 value type things that I get over the course of a year, it's pretty easy to do some math. And okay, there's real lifetime value in holding this thing, because while I didn't go to Complex Con, I saved $2,000 on flying Delta this year, and I got an upgrade at my Marriott stay. And it's like, it's why do people keep paying the annual fee for American Express? Because they believe they get more than that back in value, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's about. And I think that like understanding why people, when you took a poll in 2021, said, when are you selling your ape? 2 ETH, 5 ETH, 100 ETH, never selling. And the never selling was the highest. Understand and study that, because there's enough people who wanted to be part of something special and wanted to feel part of something special, regardless of price, regardless of where things are going. And your point about it is like, you need it to be the thing where it's like, we talk about certain things we hold. Like, I don't know, like I had the hype token. Hype token pulled back. I bought more. I wasn't like, oh my God, it's over, I'm selling. I hate Hyperliquid. I hate everything there. Like, it's just, you need people to feel comfy in where they're sitting. And I just think that, thinking about how to do that is a important part of every community. So in any case, Cap, I think we should let everyone sail off on their day. I know it's been a longer show, but I think it's a good one. And like, by the way, understanding your community, you talked about hanging out in Discord all day. It's one of the things I talked about, like with some of the companies I've done consulting with. Your Discord community is different than your group chat community, is different than your Telegram community, is different than your X community, is different than your holders, is different than your non-holders. Like, they need to start segmenting these people and understanding what they want and what the important thing for them is. So let's let everyone sail off into their day, though. Any other parting thoughts before we let everyone go? All good?
Trying to give something sage, but or make a condom joke, but nothing came to me quick enough. I did have some incredible dinner last night. I'll share this. If you're in St. Pete, anyone that's in this area or traveling this area, attempt to get reservations at Calida, Calida. It's a combination with the wife is from California, the husband's from Florida. They combine the two. The husband's a world-class chef. The wife it's basically like, it's the husband-wife combo. They only have like 6, 7, 8 tables at this place. Very hard to get in. I don't know if I've ever seen a restaurant with over 100 Google reviews that are all 5 stars. And just incredible meal last night. First time I ever had caviar on ice cream. Pretty bougie, I know. Wasn't something I thought I would enjoy, but yeah, the little salty combo was. That's it. Kalita is my dinner recommendation in St. Pete if you travel this way.
I'll end it on.
And if any hippie friends out there, Reggae Rise Up just got announced for March. Vinoy Park in St. Pete, which is on the water. Pretty banger lineup if you're of our age, like Sublime, G Love and the Special Sauce, Cypress Hill, like some throwback bangers. Should be a fun festival. If anyone's coming to town, let me know.
No, good stuff. Oh, you said you wanted a joke about your about to end it. I'll say, what does your fanny pack and myself both remind you of, Cap? It's time to wrap it up. All right, we're going to let everyone go at the end of this day. Thanks to everyone who came through this morning. We will talk to everybody bright and early tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.